It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis is here. Paris Martineau is here. Pavel Durov, however, is in jail in Paris. We'll talk about the arrest of the Telegram founder and what it means for social platforms in general. We'll also talk a little bit about hamburgers, mozzarella cheese, and the new AI features in the Pixel phone. That's just a small sampling of what's coming next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 783, recorded Wednesday, August 28th, 2024. The Cat in the Hat. It's time for Twig, This Week in Google. Let me start the timer so I know how long this show is going. The show that goes on and never mentions Google. It's kind of an amazing feat. We believe it's a magic trick, actually. I hope you enjoy it. With me right now, Jeff Jarvis. He is, well, no one knows.
As of today,
yes.
I'm officially emeritus.
Oh. So now we've been saying emeritus wrong?
Because I was as good as emeritus. Now
You're
I'm
getting paid.
Emeritus.
Okay.
I'm no longer
He is
paid. The
emeritus Tao Knight, professor of journalistic innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Director of the Tao Knight Center.
No, I'm no longer the director. That's no
longer. That you're not even an emeritus on that. You just don't have anything to do with
just
them.
gone, yeah.
It's over.
I left $1 million behind me.
The author of Gutenberg Parenthesis at gutenbergparenthesis.com, magazine, and soon The Web We Weave. His new book, which is coming out next month. Now, ladies and gentlemen,
The
to
real
my
star
left,
of the show,
Paris Martineau, reporter for the Information, where she covers the Utes.
The Utes.
Is that what is the actual beat?
Yeah. The Utes, kids and technology, online child safety, and related policies.
Yeah, but she knows about everything, so
I do. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. You know, every single week when you do Jeff's intro, which I guess you're probably not going to anymore, I want to say journalistic integrity instead of journalistic innovation. But I should, of course, remember that, he's a man of innovation.
Yes.
Rather than integrity.
screw the integrity.
Yeah, screw the integrity.
Oh, that's gone.
No. You have lots of integrity. We count on that. Boy, I don't know where. I guess I should do a little Elon segment. The big story to me is what's going on in Paris with Pavel Durov. We'll start with that. It does send chills up Elon's spine because Durov is the guy in charge of Telegram, which is a platform not dissimilar to Twitter. It uses a client. It kind of looks like a messaging app, but I don't think it's the messaging that's the problem. It's the public groups that Telegram supports that the French are unhappy about. He was on an airplane flying in his private jet from Azerbaijan. He has joint citizenship in the Emirates and France. He was flying to Paris. They saw his name on the manifest, even though it was a private plane, and officials. Now it's different in France. It's a little. It's not like our form of jurisprudence. A magistrate can issue a warrant. It's not even an arrest. They just bring you in. And then he can decide whether to indict you or not. And as far as we know, he was arrested in the sense that he was stopped, but he has not been accused of any crime.
I just put up. It just happened. He got charged.
He did get charged.
Yeah, okay. That's online.
It took a long time. He was arrested on Sunday.
You're allowed. Today was the day they had to. So, oh shoot!
He's been charged in France with enabling various forms of criminality in the app, French prosecutors said Wednesday. One of the charges, I'm reading from an NBC News article by Kevin Collier and Rob Wheel. One of the charges, complicity in administering an online platform permitting illegal transactions by an organized group, carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison and a fine of 500,000 euros.
So no one disputes that Telegram is rife with criminality. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't dispute that Twitter is rife with criminality, or, WhatsApp. I mean, that's kind of the nature of these platforms.
The internet.
The internet is rife with criminality. There is some awful stuff on Telegram, including terrorist organizations used it to plan assassinations. The January 6th insurrectionists used it to plan the insurrection. Child pornography, people exchange CSAM material on Telegram. There are drug markets on Telegram, much like Silk Road. But there's also a lot of normal messaging going on. It is. I use it. I love it. I really like its look and feel, its usability. I subscribe to some public channels. For instance, there's a channel that republishes Apple's press releases. So I get a notification from my Telegram whenever Apple puts out a press release. Apple doesn't notify me, but Telegram does. So that's handy for a journalist who covers Apple.
Telegram is quite big as kind of a news source in certain parts of the world. I know a lot of Ukrainian media organizations exist largely on Telegram.
But so do the Russian military, right?
Yeah.
This is what's so interesting about a platform. It doesn't discriminate.
So, reading more from this NBC News article, in a statement Wednesday, the Paris prosecutor's office said that Telegram had almost completely failed to respond to its legal requests for user data in prosecuting cybercrime cases. Prosecutors cited numerous offenses, including refusal to communicate with authorities, quote, complicity in offenses related to child sexual abuse material and drug trafficking, and implementing encrypted technology without proper declaration. It's kind of interesting because it does seem like this is one of the first instances where the CEO of a major internet platform has been charged over alleged criminal failure to basically moderate what users do on the platform, which is not something you see in the US.
It is to moderate, but I would submit that it's also a failure to give the keys to the back door to law enforcement. That's kind of what's implied with this indictment.
Yeah, it is.
He failed to cooperate. And now, Telegram has encryption. It is not by default end-to-end encrypted. In fact, its encryption is roll your own. It was written by his brother, Pavel Durov's brother, who is also now has a wet restaurant for him in France. But it has never really been vetted. And Matthew Green wrote a long piece, our favorite cryptographer from Johns Hopkins, saying there's all sorts of question marks about their encryption. Nevertheless, to call it an end-to-end encrypted platform isn't really strictly true, because you have to jump through hoops to encrypt it. Group chats are not encrypted and cannot be. So it's encrypted. Let
me ask you there, Leo, can I interrupt for 1 second and just ask? Yeah. What I saw is, because one of the key questions here is, what could Pavel Durov have known? So you're encrypted, if you want to be, to Telegram. Are you then encrypted within Telegram and then on? In other words, is everything
unclear.
Visible to Telegram or not?
It's unclear. They claim end-to-end, which would be the answer. If it were real end-to-end, your answer would be yes, that Telegram can't see it either.
But only certain things. Only if you go to the effort, and only if you're not crypted.
Yeah, and it's not clear whether it is end-to-end encrypted, because they haven't. It's not open source. They've never really allowed people to vet it. They claim it's secure. Let's assume it doesn't really matter. Let's assume for purposes of discussion it is secure encrypted, like WhatsApp is, like Signal is. But groups are never encrypted. There are a lot of public groups, including public groups where they sell drugs and they plot terrorist crimes and stuff. The Russian military uses it. The Ukraine military uses it. But the thing is, so here's what's problematic to me. Is he's being held responsible, something that I think wouldn't happen in the U.S. because of Section 230. He's being held responsible for the content on the platform. You certainly wouldn't hold AT&T responsible for terrorist plots conceived on the phone network.
Well, this is the publisher argument. This is the argument that
is a publisher versus carrier.
Right, which we have an argument about. David Kaye, who's a wonderful law professor in California, who also was the UN special rapporteur on matters internet. He tweeted a little bit ago, he blue skied a little while ago. The complicity offenses will be something to watch. What did Durov know about criminal activity? Is Telegram's knowledge, if there was notice, and there definitely was in some cases, imputed to him? Do they have evidence of specific directives from Durov on cooperation with authorities? So I think you're right. That's a key part of this. What do both,
before we can move on, what do both of you think if Durov or people, responsible at Telegram said, oh yeah, that channel is full of illicit drug sales. do they have a responsibility to close it? They say by the way, they say they do that. They close, what was it? There's something like 50 CSAM accounts a day.
A Telegram spokesperson told NBC News that it uses a combination of moderators, artificial intelligence, and user reports to remove public channels that host CSAM material. And it publishes a daily report claiming it removes thousands of channels a day for CSAM. But its terms of service says that there's no means for reporting illegal activity in private Telegram chats, and that it's never given any government any information on a user. To your question, Leo, I don't know enough about French law to be able to state with certainty like what this means and whether or not that would potentially be an alleged like break from what is legal to do in France.
Well, I don't either, but I mean, just in general, morally, ethically, and as a journalist, do you think they should be that the sites should be responsible for that? Given that he has almost 1 billion monthly active users, so it's a challenge to do it.
This is where you get into. Go ahead, Paris.
In general, it seems like I a couple weeks ago when I was in DC, I was at a conference held by kind of the National Center on Sexual Exploitation. They actually went into a lot of stuff relating to this, not on Telegram specifically, but on a bunch of different other major tech platforms. And something that I was a little surprised to learn, given, we hear all of this back and forth over moderation of platforms, is the major tech platforms all cooperate quite a lot with government officials in order to get rid of CSAM on their platform and take it down. In a lot of cases, videos that are known CSAM material are hashed in a certain way, and then that information is transmitted to the tech company. So if anybody ever tries to upload that CSAM again, it is automatically flagged and taken down, and authorities are notified. And part of the thing that I think is interesting here is that it seems like Telegram is not, Telegram seems to not be doing any of that, and they are not playing ball at all, which is why I think they're getting in hot water legally, is because their approach, which has been praised by a lot of kind of free speech absolutionist types, is like anything goes as far as private chats. But obviously the people who police these sort of things say, anything does not go.
But there are no private chats on Telegram, really. And there's a lot of illegality going on in public chats. Shouldn't the police arrest those people and not worry so much about Pavel Durov?
Well, that's the problem, is they can't find them and can't get them, so they go there. This is the argument I have. This is the same argument I have about AI these days. There's a three-tier matrix here of responsibility. Is it the technology? Gutenberg, we're going to behead you before it comes off the press. Is it the application layer? The intermediaries, whether that was a publisher or a bookstore or another platform, or is it the user? I would argue the most responsibility should fall to the user, the person who creates it, spreads it, asks for it. Because two problems. One is it's anonymous, and we've had that argument plenty, and I still think anonymity is very important. But two is scale. The government efforts cannot scale against this, and so they try to hold who they can responsible, and so they hold a platform and say, you should do this. And this is what led in the UK to the duty of care in the formerly known as harms, now known as safety law. You do it, and we're not going to tell you exactly what's wrong. We're not going to tell you what the law is. We're going to tell you you should enforce it. Same thing with NetzDG in Germany, where Facebook has to decide what is illegal or manifestly illegal because it requires different actions. This is intermediary liability. That's where it all comes down to. But your question, I think, is right, Leo, is that if you do have the mechanism to know, and all these other platforms, as Paris just said, do have the mechanism to know, they have to invest in it, they have to do it, but they do it, should Telegram be held responsible in the same way? Well, that depends on local law. But I think the other platforms have set that precedent that says this is over the bar and we will cooperate and get rid of it to the best of our ability.
Yeah. And I think a user in our Discord just brought up a good point. Trust No One said, I could buy the users are responsible argument if it was decentralized, but he, in this case, Telegram, was hosting it, all of it. a lot of other pirate sites like Red Pirate Roberts have tried the same argument, saying, oh, no, it's just our users, it's not us. And they lost. And I think that is kind of a valid argument. There is the aspect of this that Telegram is hosting a large amount of CSAM and other patently illegal content. And I don't know, do you think that government agencies have the right to come after them for that?
Well, here's the problem is, I'll go back to David Kay. He said, the French are treading on complicated ground here and quite dangerous to the extent states without strong rule of law or with underlying repressive laws, especially on speech and public debate, see this as precedent to go after senior tech execs. They want someone to blame. That's an easy target. And I think that's going to be a horrible chill on speech.
We've seen this in China and Russia. Both have said if you're going to operate in our country, you have to have employees on the ground so that we can arrest them.
Yeah.
If we don't like what you're doing. It does seem problematic. I mean, look, if Durov knows there's child sexual abuse material on Telegram and does nothing about it, that seems reprehensible, right?
Yes, agree.
But he also can make the case. We do everything we can, but it's impossible.
Does he? Does he? Should he? Should he? Is he obligated to?
And what do the French authorities want? Do they actually want a back door into his encrypted?
Well, that's the other question.
Traffic. They're not being clear about what they want.
No.
Of course, Elon Musk is terrified because I mean, if I were Elon, I wouldn't go to France. But you make the point. It could be any country. Section 230 stops at our borders.
Yeah.
Would Section 230 protect him, Jeff?
No, because
I think what they're going after them for is this is from a Politico article about this quote. Telegram's almost total failure to respond to judicial requests is what the French prosecutor's office is claiming.
So you didn't play the game, Pavel.
Yeah.
You got to play the game. Well, that doesn't.
Well, it's not just a game. And I'll go to our friend Craig Newmark. One of the hallmarks of his reign at Craigslist was that he cooperated with police very early on. And let's not forget that FOSTA SESTA passed, and he took down personals and such, or not, he didn't, but Craigslist did because he was no longer in charge. But the research is very clear since then that it has made enforcement much, much more difficult.
Do you agree with Julia Signup in our YouTube chat who says anonymity is a failed experiment? We should never have anonymity in public anything.
No, that is easy for a person of privilege to say. If you are a person who's vulnerable, if you are trans in many states in this country right now, you need anonymity to stay safe. I think you got to keep that in mind. Anonymity is not a privilege; it is a right. So I disagree.
And it's a trade-off because some people use anonymity to do bad things.
But it's also identity is no solution. I can name plenty of jerks by name.
Yeah.
Just because your name is there doesn't mean you're suddenly not a jerk.
But I'm curious, do you guys think, I agree, I think anonymity is a public good in many ways, but does that mean that a tech company has a right or a responsibility to protect your anonymity at all cost?
Not at all cases.
When they know who you are? Like,
not
do they
at
have to
all
protect
cases.
your IP address from the government?
No, if you are subpoenaed for somebody's IP address, when I ran online sites, we gave it up. We were legally required to give it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like this is kind of what the Telegram case is.
Yeah, I think it is.
Government
So
was
do you
like,
think he was-
who's
he
sending
was-
this stuff? And they're like, out of our hands.
nothing.
guys.
We don't know, but you think maybe that he
Yeah.
wasn't responding to legitimate subpoenas or whatever it is.
I mean,
be.
that's what the prosecutor's office has alleged is that they were not responding to judicial requests.
But why didn't they go? Did they? My question would be then: did they first go after the company instead of him individually? Because there's a lot of things they could have done in the company. They could have seized things. They could have stopped it. They could have done many things.
Use Craigslist as a good example. Craigslist, there's something bad on Craigslist. The law now prohibits it with Sosta Festa, Festa Sosta, whatever it's called.
Worcestershire, whatever it is.
And the government goes to Craigslist to say this is against the law. Craigslist pulls it down. At no point is the CEO of Craigslist going to get arrested.
No. Well,
But-
however, no, hold on here. Let's take Craig out of it. Let's say that when I ran NJ.com and we had people coming to us with subpoenas, if I had refused to answer that subpoena, I would have gone to jail.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
But
maybe
the
this is all
issue
legit.
there would have been my non-responsiveness to a subpoena
Right. Well, that's what
more
they got
than
him
what
on,
was
it looks like.
underlying.
Yeah.
Still, this is dangerous, and it's not. And France is not being forthcoming enough for us to know what the implications of this are, because they could be great.
The New York Times says in the article about the charges, light oversight of content on the platform has helped people living under authoritarian governments to communicate. But it has also made the app a haven for harmful content.
Right.
Can you have the former without the latter?
I think you can. So I'm going to quote David Kay again, and then the thread is almost done, so I'll stop. He said, the tightrope walk is preserving the ability to promote free expression while signaling commitment in addressing actual crime. I think that's well put. You're trying to balance. Twitter was great at that in the old days before Musk. Twitter said, we are going to fight for freedom of expression. We are going to fight for the rights of our users, but we're also going to deal with crime as crime.
What does Mike Masnick say?
He was writing something.
Yeah, I remember because he was doing research on Pavel Durov. I saw that on Blue Sky.
Obviously, when we learn the details of these charges, any of the things we're saying could totally change. Right now, we're kind of speculating. But if it's as simple of a case as like what you're saying, Telegram wants to take kind of a free speech approach and say, no, we don't think the government should have the right to request this information. That's fine, but you have to go through the court and judicial process
that's right.
to make that claim. You've got to,
Yes,
like
well
Twitter
said.
or any of these other companies, have your lawyers make that claim in court. You can't just throw up your hands and say, no, thank you. We're not playing game.
Well, I've been
Paris,
through this process with Twitter back in the many years ago. A family member received a death threat on Twitter, and we went to the local police here in Petaluma, got a good detective. I mean, I think this is probably unusual, who then subpoenaed Twitter, got the information from Twitter. All they get from Twitter is an IP address, but was able to use that IP address to track down the ISP, then had to issue a subpoena to the ISP to get the name of the subscribers whose IP address that was at that time, because they rotate, found that, and then got the local Chicago police to go to that guy's house.
Wow.
That's a long process, but I've been
Yes.
through it, and Twitter complied. I mean, they didn't gladly comply. They had to have a legal subpoena, but once presented with the subpoena, they complied.
Paris, I think your point is really, really important here, because if you listen to, and this goes way back, I haven't heard this in a long time, but it was also the use of the argument that if you were in China or if you were in Turkey, what the platform said is, we will follow local law. And you may not like us for it in the West, but we have to follow local law.
Yeah.
So clearly in this case, it would seem Telegram was not following local law. And if the case comes out and they tried 100 times and they found out that it was Durov who personally said, don't do it, all right, then that sounds like there might be a case. But if they didn't have that preamble of trying, then it looks like a showcase.
You can see why there's concern in the tech community around this. There are legitimate reasons that you could go after Pavel Durov, but we also don't want this to become a regular habit of any country to go after the owners or the platforms themselves for the transgressions of their users.
Oh, but there'll be a hue and cry in this country to say we should do what France does, and we should get rid of Section 230. We should hold these bastards responsible. I'm already starting to see it online, and I'm saying no, and here's the implications of that.
Yeah, that's why we're worried, right?
Yeah.
And so it may well be that Pavel Durov deserves to spend the rest of his life rotting in jail. We don't know.
It's like Silk Road. Silk Road was an awful place,
still in jail.
doing awful things. He's in jail. He should be.
He should be. And some are saying this is just like Silk Road. What was going on in Telegram was just like what was going on in Silk Road.
In which case, yeah.
And much more in public.
I was saying, on a kind of similar note, on the topic of Section 230, there was a really interesting decision made by the Third Circuit Court where they reversed a dismissal on a case concerning TikTok that is part of this case, I guess, concerns the whole TikTok blackout challenge, but it is part of this like wave of litigation that the social media companies have seen in the last year or so, where instead of suing and then immediately getting blocked by Section 230 because they're suing over the content, lawyers and plaintiffs are arguing that these companies should be held liable under the theories of product liability and negligence in a way to kind of sidestep Section 230. And it's a very controversial legal strategy, but has shown a surprising amount of, it has been surprisingly successful so far. I mean, it hasn't outright won that many cases, but it has not been dismissed. And so the decision that happened today is this lawsuit over TikTok potentially being responsible for the death of some children who participated in a trending like challenge that resulted in them blacking out. The court had originally dismissed that because TikTok had said, hey, Section 230, we're not responsible for the videos. But the attorneys in this case are arguing, we're not saying TikTok's responsible for the videos. We're saying that the product of TikTok is defective because it served the recommendation algorithm served increasingly radical content to users that the company knew were like very young. And what the Third Circuit Court today did was they said,
I want to see that data.
All right, we're saying you can go forward with this. They reversed a dismissal, which was kind of interesting.
Which one is the Third Circuit? I always get confused. I don't know my circuits. Because at this point, I need to know who appointed the judges.
The
because we got
Third
two different
Circuit Court of
systems.
Appeals,
Philadelphia
it's on appeal
based.
from the
Okay, all right.
U.S. District Court in Eastern District of
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
it's Philadelphia based.
Maybe
So it was a 10-year-old girl who
Schwartz.
died after taking part in a viral blackout challenge in which TikTok users were dared to choke themselves until they passed out. Ay, ay, ay. And you can't expect a 10-year-old to know enough to know, oh, I shouldn't do that. This is from Reuters, while a federal law typically shields internet companies from lawsuits over content posted by users, the Third Circuit yesterday ruled the law does not bar the mother from pursuing claims that the algorithm recommended the challenge. That
This
seems
is
fair.
back to the publisher thing. Well, they've got to see. We got to see the data as to how much it recommended it. That's important.
Yeah, and so part of I did a story last month on one of the kind of leading firms that is arguing this theory because it's quite interesting actually. It's something when I took on this new beat I hadn't realized had become as big of a deal as it had, because there are like thousands of lawsuits around the country that are arguing the same thing, saying like maybe it may not be the TikTok blackout challenge, maybe pure social media addiction or something totally unrelated, but saying we want to try and hold these companies liable using product liability theories, saying that they were defectively designed or negligently designed. And it has become such a big deal lately that they've consolidated it in state and federal courts, and there are thousands of cases in each one. And it all ties back to this decision that took place in, I think it was 2018, 2019, sometime in the last like couple of years. I guess the appeal happened in 2021, called Lemon v. Snap. And this was a case where you had some teenagers who were out driving late one night. Their car swerved off the road and they hit a tree and they all died. And looking into it, investigators found that at the time of the crash, they were going 120 something miles per hour. And one of the kids in the passenger seat had his phone open and was using TikTok's speed snap filter, which is, or not TikTok, Snapchat's speed snap filter.
I've used that on the bullet train. It tells you how fast you're going.
It tells you how fast you're going.
Yeah.
And a big thing that was happening around this time is like Snapchat also has these things where like you can get certain rewards or awards for stuff. Like if you send a snap so many times. And a big thing that a lot of kids believed was that if you hit 100 miles per hour on the speed filter, it would give you an award. And this was like,
because I tried it and it didn't.
yeah, a lot of people tried,
But I
though, and this
wasn't
was
driving.
a huge online thing for like
Yeah.
years. And what they argued in this lawsuit was that there had been a number of these cases around the U.S. and that Snapchat should have been aware that when it was designing a feature to be used by predominantly children, that it was incentivizing them to speed.
They did turn that feature off after that case.
They did,
Yeah.
and they ended up settling the case eventually after a Ninth Circuit judge in this kind of landmark decision said, actually, for the first time ever, Snapchat Section 230 doesn't apply here. This is a product that was designed defectively, and they deserve to have their day in court. And it created this whole field of law that you're now seeing today.
Well, but this Third Circuit opinion is because of a July Supreme Court opinion. Remember when the Supreme Court was sued about the social media platforms, the Texas and Florida laws, they essentially sent that back down. But one of the things they said is that an algorithm reflects editorial judgments about compiling the third party speech it wants in the way it wants it. And the judge, the justice in this circuit court appeal opinion referred to that July Supreme Court case and said TikTok makes choices about the content recommended and promoted to specific users, and by doing so is engaged in its own first party speech. So the Supreme Court in July, a couple of months ago, made this ruling that made them responsible, and this is the fruit of that. So now this is going to go on.
As part of this article, I'd reach out to kind of a bunch of legal experts to get their thoughts on this and the consensus was that a couple of years ago, these theories being advanced in courts, much less like upheld by major circuit courts, it seemed totally implausible. But some sort of shift has happened in the last couple of years. And part of, I guess, how our law system works is, one, the Supreme Court has shifted, but also all of these judges further down have shifted their opinion too. And the thing that a lot of legal scholars told me is like, part of it is that people just hate tech companies a lot more now, and they are more open to arguments that will chip away at this like long.
It is a different argument, though, right?
The circuit. It's not a content argument. The circuit court judge, Patty Schwartz, specifically pointed to the Supreme Court opinion from August and said that, or in July, said that's why. She said the reasoning no longer holds after the U.S. Supreme Court ruling in July. In other words, we have to change our holding because of this. So this is directly a result of the Supreme Court decision.
Mm-hmm. But which part of that decision?
I'll read from the Reuters article. U.S. Circuit Judge Patty Schwartz, writing for the 3-judge panel, said that Section 230 only immunizes information provided by third parties and not recommendations. She acknowledged the holding was a departure from past court rulings by her court and others, holding that Section 230 immunizes online platforms, but she said that reasoning no longer held after a U.S. Supreme Court ruling in July on whether state law is designed to restrict the power of social media platforms to curb content they deem objectionable violates their free speech rights. In her opinion, she wrote, in those cases, the Supreme Court held a platform's algorithm reflects editorial judgments about compiling third-party speech the way it wants it, in the way it wants it. And she says, under that logic, the company is not protected by Section 230.
So I hear Paris is, so there's two things going on here. One is that recommendation becomes editorial, becomes something they can be liable for. The other thing I heard you say, Paris, is that basically the new strategy here is also a product liability strategy, a product design strategy, as opposed to the content.
Correct.
So Section 230 protects the content, ergo the speech. Mm-hmm. And what you just said is, no, that's not an issue. That issue is
recommendations.
Recommendations.
Specifically, in all of these cases, the commonality is they're saying, like, we don't care about the content. We're talking about agnostic from that, unrelated, the recommendation algorithm and what it is doing. And this is something you're seeing in these like federal and state, like multi-district litigation things that you have like 46 states attorneys general chiming in, plus all these school districts and all these parents, is they're all trying to push this argument that we should be able to hold these companies accountable for harms in a way that is unrelated to content produced by users and is more about
I think
how
that's
it was
fair.
designed.
Do you not think
Leo,
that's fair?
you and I have had that discussion many times. And the problem is, if it's a bad algorithm, I get that. But what's going to happen is that if you, as you have wished to do in the past, outlaw all algorithms, then you get this boundless feed that is easily manipulable by the bad guys, and it will be worse.
Well,
and research shows that it's not better to be without the algorithm.
I agree in that sense, but I think that when I spoke to this asbestos attorney, this longtime asbestos attorney who left asbestos law after like 25 years and founded a firm called the Social Media Victims Law Center that handles just cases like this. And he said part of what excited him and interested him in doing this work is what led to asbestos law, as well as laws prosecuting big tobacco companies, were initial cases kind of like this, where once the case makes it into court and discovery can happen, they are looking to see what they can glean during discovery and if they can get any information that would indicate these companies were truly negligent when designing their products. And then they can have more specific, I guess, cases from there. So part of this is a ploy to get a better look inside these tech companies so that then litigants can determine whether or not, I guess, they have a case.
Well, in fact, the Reuters quotes a lawyer who says, "Hey, it's they're no longer protected. Let's go." I'm not sure I disagree with this. Is a very nuanced thing that, just like the Pavel Durov story, where I think reasonable people might say, "Well, that's too far. That's not far enough." Yes, we've got to balance the rights of victims with the rights of people who have free speech. I think in this case, if TikTok's algorithm promoted stories about hanging yourself to a 10-year-old, they should be held liable. I don't think that's unreasonable. Tell me why Section 230 should protect that, Jeff.
I'd say two things, not just Section 230. One is that we need to be careful here that choice is speech. And this could be turned around badly, and it's being used in Texas and Florida to say, no, you can't have the choice of what to put up. You must put up all speech. You must put up our noxious speech, say extremists. And if you abrogate the right of, if you dilute the right of the platform to make choices, and we can next argue whether they're good or bad choices, but make choices, I see danger there. Point one. Point two, I think what the world needs more of is good algorithms. Blue Sky gives me the choice of algorithms. I want those algorithms. I don't want a raw feed of the internet. The internet is being ruined not only by jerks, but also next by AI and spammers. And so we need better choice. Three, you get to the intermediary liability problem of, and it's the same as Durov, did they know they were doing this? Did they know they were doing bad? Was it drawn to their attention? Now, if it was, then I think, yes, they were responsible for taking action.
Yeah.
But at the earliest stage of it, somebody manipulated it and used it in a way that probably wasn't designed for, then who's responsible? The manipulator who was trying to get people to do bad things, or the intermediary?
And as Wizardling points out in our Discord, in our Club Twit Discord, doesn't the mother bear some responsibility for letting her 10-year-old hang out on TikTok?
Yep. Yeah, 10-year-old especially.
Yeah, she's 10. She's not even, TikTok's rules say, I think, that she's not even supposed to be there at all.
But, I mean, this is also part of what the DOJ a couple weeks ago sued TikTok, in part because they were saying TikTok knows that a significant portion of its users are under the age of 13, and it purposefully has designed its content moderation approach to, one, not have very many people making decisions, so it's not super effective, and also to have the rules around when you can take down an account for being underage be very rigid in a way that some people allege makes it so that they have a lot of kids on the platform with adult accounts.
But we also know that age verification is supremely problematic and a privacy violation for both adults and kids.
I mean, I think that's part of the issue here is what I found really interesting reading the DOJ complaint, or I don't know if it's a complaint or indictment in this case, the complaint filed in their lawsuit, is the Justice Department seems to outline that TikTok has a pretty good idea of when its users are underage. It can be as simple as things like when somebody signs up for a TikTok account, if they put in their date of birth and they are 9 years old, and TikTok
that would be a
says,
giveaway.
sorry,
Yeah.
you can't make an account. The person can just click back on the window and
I
then
meant
put
90.
in
Yeah.
90. And TikTok's like, well, the DOJ is like, that's probably a sign that they're 9 years old. Similarly,
Maybe, or that
when
they made
have,
a typo, that they're 90 and they can't type very well.
I mean,
we old people
that's
can't do it very well.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're probably not wearing your glasses. Similarly, they would have instances they cited in this complaint where someone would say in their bio, I am 9 years old. And like
that would
would
be a
have
giveaway.
videos
Then you get to
of
age
them
verification
looking
problems.
to be looking like they are young. And the person wouldn't be able to take them down because of kind of rigid rules and how TikTok polices it. I do think that there's something to the argument that we don't have to have like some awful age verification system where we input our face print and driver's license, where you could just use common sense if you have a reasonable suspicion that someone is under the age of 13, you're responsible for not allowing them on your platform.
Well, COSA will make it 18. Somebody we ought to have on at some point, if you want to go into this, and I think people are introduced to you, Paris, for reporting. Talia Stroud at UT Austin and Josh Tucker at NYU do a tremendous amount of research on this, and they've done it with Facebook data and other places, and they have a sense of kind of what we know and don't know about this, and what the algorithms really do and don't do. And I think it might be useful at some point to have one of them on.
I think our real concern is there seems to be this howling that, in fact, this is what the attorney for the mother said. Big tech just lost its get out of jail free card.
Yeah,
There's this kind of howling with pitchforks and torches against big tech. But it is much more complicated than this. I have sympathy for the mother. I have sympathy for any parent. If TikTok, I don't think TikTok did not, there was no executive at TikTok who said, yeah, let's push more of that go hang yourself content. But the algorithm, which is automated, noticed people were watching that and promoted it. Now what's the responsibility there? It's a very difficult thing. I mean, do you write a code that says, well, you can promote stuff algorithmically, but only if it's okay, and then somebody has to see if it's okay, and
it doesn't scale.
Part of, and I know,
doesn't scale very well. Yeah.
Part of the argument that people in support of laws like COSA make, not saying I agree or disagree with it, is they are arguing for a duty of care that would make companies like TikTok, when they are making product decisions that will impact kids, and in this case it would be for like TikTok kids, that they have to make decisions that are, I think it's like vaguely responsible towards benefiting the safety of their user. Like they have to make decisions that are not actively harmful. Yeah, and I don't know what that would mean in practice.
Well, that's the problem, Paris, is it's not specific enough. That's what makes it unconstitutional. This is the basis of the UK's online safety bill is duty of care. It's the basis of the California AI bill is duty of care. It's a way that legislators say, well, we really can't define what you shouldn't do, so we're going to say you should be careful, and we don't know it until we see it, but if you aren't careful, then we gotcha. And that's a really difficult legal regime to deal with then, because they're not going to the effort to see what the issues are here and to take that to the extreme and say, this is what's wrong. You know, I would say that if you were notified, I don't want to slice up 230 because that act is just dangerous. But in this interesting discussion you bring with product liability, if you knowingly build something bad, well, then that's, I think, an issue. If you've been notified of something and take no notice of it and do nothing about it, if any reasonable person should have, then we have a discussion. But to say that you're responsible for everything bad that anybody chooses to do on this platform or with this AI or with this printing press is foolhardy.
I guess an interesting thought experiment then is something a lot of these advocates of these bills and advocates of this legal strategy point out as a potential turning point for it was when the Facebook files dropped, all those files leaked by Frances Haugen that were originally published in the Wall Street Journal. When would you say that something like those documents we saw from inside Facebook or Instagram that said Instagram is harming the mental health of X percentage of teenage girls, would you say that
so
counts as them
let's
being
look at
notified?
that.
Let's not. Let's
Here's
take
the
a
problem.
break.
No,
Let's take a
Let me
break.
say one sentence.
Okay.
Just to add that, because I do write about this in the Web We Weave, is that the problem was that Haugen's papers were quoted quite selectively.
Yeah.
And so that in the same studies, there were as many and more students saying, or young people saying, it helped me. And so is selective quoting of the stuff for your purpose by a moral entrepreneur reason enough? No, I would say.
This is a great conversation that we will continue to have for years to come, I imagine. But I'm glad we have it. And obviously it's difficult. Here's what's difficult. We only have about an hour and a half left in the show, and we have about 43 stories. So I want you two to have a cage match, and whoever wins gets to pick the next story. I don't know how you're going to figure that out.
I got
Pick a
a good
story.
one.
Each of you get
Now.
one. Each of you get one, and we will come back in your picks coming up. But first, a word from our sponsor for this portion of This Week in Google, Bitwarden. There's one thing I know for sure. I'm not sure what the answer is to all these questions, but the one thing I know for sure, if you want to protect yourself online, you need to use a password manager, and you should use the one I use because it's the best. And I've researched them all, and I love it because it's open source. It's affordable. In fact, it's free for individuals. It lets you, if you wish, host your vault locally. I don't. I trust Bitwarden to do it. And because it's open source, they're always adding new features. This is the password manager I prefer. And if you're a business, you should absolutely be using a password manager for all your employees, protecting yourself. What was, we learned that the NPD breach, 3 million records, social security numbers for pretty much everyone in the U.S. leaked out because why? There was a zip file on their website that had names and passwords in it. Not a good way to store your passwords. Get Bitwarden. It is a cost-effective solution that can drastically increase your chances of staying safe online. And if you're a business leader, you will love to see the features Bitwarden adds specifically for businesses, like its new collection management settings. These are very granular permission settings, which make it very easy for you to protect yourself. Owners, that's you, can choose how much or how little access admins have to things in the vault. The settings can be set up so that users can create and delete their own collections that admins can't see inside. That's nice because then your employees will start using Bitwarden for the stuff they need, or your department will have access to stuff but no one else will, that kind of thing. It's a policy of least privilege, right? That's very handy. Another possible setup, and again, you get to choose full admin control for everything. Here's the point. It's very granular. It's very powerful. With these new settings and a new can manage permission, you could choose how access control and sharing works in your Bitwarden organization. And that's just one of dozens of features specifically for business that make Bitwarden the obvious choice. Bitwarden empowers enterprises, developers, and yes, individuals like me to safely store and share sensitive data, not just passwords. Bitwarden generates long, strong, completely unmemorable passwords and then remembers them for me so I don't have to. But it also is a great place, because this encrypted vault is so strongly protected, to put my social security number, my passport, my driver's license. I always have access to it on all my devices because I have it in Bitwarden. And with a transparent open source approach to password management, Bitwarden makes it easy for users to extend those robust security practices everywhere they are online. I know you use a password manager because you're listening to Twit. You obviously know what you're doing, but I know you also have friends and family that you've been trying for years to get them to up their security. Tell them about Bitwarden. It is free for life for individuals because it's open source, and that's unlimited passwords and an unlimited variety of devices: Windows, Mac, Linux, iOS, Android. You also get passkey support. That's the future, I think, of passwords, built right into Bitwarden, part of their free plan. You also get hardware key support if you want to use a YubiKey. I mean, It does it all. You can get started for free across all devices as an individual user at bitwarden.com/twit, or get a free trial of the Teams or Enterprise plan. You need to protect your business. You really do. One of the great things you can do with a business is get all of your employees to set up their personal Bitwarden vaults and then have them join the organizational vault. And then they will, whenever they're browsing, they'll always have a secure way of storing passwords, both theirs and yours. It's a win-win. Bitwarden.com/twit. I am a big believer in Bitwarden. I'd love to support them. I've been using them for years. I want you to try them too. Bitwarden.com/twit. We thank them so much for supporting this little show we call This Week in Google. This Week in Google. Jeff Jarvis is here. So's Paris Martin. They're such great people. Let's start with Paris and your story that you pick.
My story is
pile.
really related to technology and Google.
Good. Wow, that's a first.
It is.
Holy cow.
And I
Could
really
get you
want
kicked off the show, Paris.
I really want to keep the story grounded and related to the topics that our audience knows and cares about. That's why mine is line 104. Chick-Fil-A has hatched plans for a streaming service.
I saw that. I thought, what the hell would they stream?
Also,
Well,
in the
Paris
same
is
couple
gonna
of
tell you.
weeks, New York's largest hospital system is setting its sights in the entertainment business also.
Yes. Yes.
Why?
For the first article, Chick-fil-A is moving aggressively into the entertainment space, writes Deadline, with plans to launch a slate of originals for its
Will they
own
only be
streaming platform.
chicken-focused content? I mean...
That's a great question.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised if it had a little religious taint given them.
Yeah, right,
it's
right.
probably going to be a little...
Will they go dark on Sundays?
Yeah, you can't stream on Sundays,
streaming on
actually.
Sundays.
Just hymns.
A family-friendly game show.
It's previously produced content for its own site before, including Stories of Evergreen Hills, a series of short animated films. It's diversified into other areas like making children's puzzles and games under its Penny Cake brand.
So it'll be
It's moving into the
family-friendly.
reality TV industry, though, which is interesting. And
Let's watch our terribly
Northwell
underpaid
Health.
people make chicken all day. Yeah.
Yeah. Northwell Health, a large healthcare system in New York State, is moving into the entertainment business as well and developing scripted and unscripted content. I don't know. I just found both of these stories
Everybody's
fascinating.
doing it.
And
How about this one?
leads me to believe that there's some sort of tax break situation happening.
maybe
Like
that's
I
it.
know in New York State, at least, production companies can get serious tax breaks if they have production
But
based
they're
in the
getting,
state.
it's like if they were doing podcast, they're getting into a business that's dying. Streaming is in deep,
Yeah.
unless you're Netflix, in deep trouble. Chick-fil-A is the latest company, Deadline says, outside the entertainment industry to move into making its own shows. Lyft produced a show called Lucky Lift, a game show hosted by Bob the Drag Queen. Airbnb produced documentary Gay Chorus Deep South and it aired on MTV.
Companies need to have less money. All those funds should go to Twit.
There's a
We
TV.
do streaming. I mean, it's like if Twit's going to get into the chicken sandwich business.
Yeah.
I mean, could be a good
Maybe.
idea.
It's TV ego. It's you want to believe. When I was at People Magazine, we hired people, and they were going to have our TV show, and we did, and it was on I don't know what network, the 25 Most Intriguing, and they had people singing and dancing, going down stage, singing the names of the 25 Most Intriguing. Look, Rolenza.
That's it.
When I was at Condé Nast, we hired people to put us on TV. It's just some kind of ego thing.
It's ego.
Yeah.
It's the same reason you see the guy who owns the local carpet store doing his own TV ads, even though he's terrible, right?
Yeah.
I remember when I worked in local radio, this was a constant problem. The salesperson, I was, sitting in the production studio ready to do an ad. Salesperson would drag in the owner of some store and say, "Hey, Joe's Burgers wants to do the ad for himself." And it's like, okay, take one. And we knew this was going to be a long afternoon. Well, if Mr. Beast can make burgers, I guess we can make chicken sandwiches. That seems...
I guess.
Well,
Good choice.
there's a quick tie-in there, Leo, for sandwiches.
Oh, my son,
Petaluma?
Salt Hank. Oh,
Plus, you are in the chicken capital of the world, Leo. Don't forget
we
that.
are.
That's true.
All right, let me call Hank.
Well, and the butter capital. You can put some butter on those chicken sandwiches.
Oh, man. Buttery chicken from the nation's egg basket to your home. Brought to you by This Week in Tech.
Makes perfect sense. What
Sure, why
a
not?
Featuring
line
Salt Hank.
extension.
Featuring Salt Hank. Maybe. Could happen. It's his
You
birthday
guys can
today, by
have,
the
you
way.
know how his the cover of his book is him biting into a sandwich? You can be
Yeah.
on the other side. You could kind of spaghetti Lady in the Tramp it.
He was just on Maddie Madison's YouTube channel. Maddie's a very famous YouTube chef. And Maddie was mocking Hank's steak sandwiches, but ended up making one. So it was very funny.
Oh, that's funny.
And he called Hank to be on the show. I guess, I don't know, maybe they hadn't set it up, but he called him. Hank told me I was like fast asleep. It was like 6 a.m. And I said, hey, it's Maddie Madison. And he did the whole
Calling
thing
someone at 6 a.m. is crazy.
live on his YouTube channel.
Oh, live. Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
So
And he
Hank,
picked up?
He picked, not only pick up, he did the whole interview. You can kind of tell he just woke up. He's talking like this. Anyway, happy birthday, Hank. It's his 30th birthday.
Oh, yay.
Yay today. And I gave him, I thought this might be Coles to Newcastle, but I'm going to try it. I gave him a pepper mill. He was
cute.
happy. Well, I don't know
Is it
about
a
you,
cute pepper?
Paris.
This is a kid who used to like getting sausages, so.
Oh, yeah. He lived on salamis. In fact, every Christmas in his stocking, there'd be a giant salami. It'd be gone by the end of the day. He would eat the whole day.
A giant salami, I've learned, is one of the perfect Secret Santa gifts.
It's a
you got to
good
wrap it in a
secret.
box like something normal, and they
And
pull
then
out
they
a
share
really
it?
large salami.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Make sure that
Unless
person
they're
carries
vegetarian.
a knife with them at all times so they can share it. So where was I? I forgot now. Birthday gift.
yeah.
So I have spent 60 years of my life looking for a decent pepper grinder. Paris, do you have a good pepper grinder?
I have one from Deuce and Deucin. I don't know if it's great at pepper grinding, but it's very cute.
It's a pepper grinder. It should be good at pepper grinding. That seems like the basic.
I mean, it's not bad at pepper grinding, but
Yeah.
I can't like
My
control the
whole
size
life.
of the flex.
Yeah, my whole
Easily.
life. I've been using pepper grinders that are not bad at pepper grinding. So I did some research. I went to Reddit and I found the Pepper Cannon.
Oh,
This thing, it's
from
a
Man Kitchen.
Man Kitchen sells
Kitchen
him.
for Men.
Yeah, manly. This thing is $200 freaking dollars,
Jeez.
but it is made of steel.
You have to be tatted up to use it.
And you have to be tatted. It is made for salt. Because I said, look, I'm going to give you a pepper grinder. I got to admit. He said, well, it better look good because I can't use it on camera. I said, this looks good. You're going to be proud of using this. So as soon as he tried it, he said, oh my God, my whole life. So this is why I'm passing this along to you, Paris. Spend the $200 because you'll never buy another pepper
So do
grinder.
you have one, Leo?
Of course.
Oh.
And you should have one too. And you make cacio e pepe. How do you make your
yeah.
pepe?
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, Trader Joe's does it for me, but
Yeah, no, they're terrible. So
You
So-
get the loose pepper.
we've been buying the Trader Joe's plastic pepper grinders, and then you use up the pepper, you have to throw it out and get a new grinder. Not good. This is amazing. It's the best pepper grinder ever. Okay, I'm sorry. That was his birthday gift. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for you, Jeff Jarvis. Wait a minute. Before you
I
do,
have a
let
great
me take a
story.
break.
Oh, okay.
We got
Because I have a great
ads.
story. I have a wonderful story. You're going to want to make sure you come back for it.
Come
after
back.
this
Don't
ad.
miss this fantastic story. Jeff Bitward is going to share with us. Oh, no, that's the sponsor. Jeff Jarvis is going to share
It's
with
my
us.
middle name, Bitward.
Jeff Bitwarden Jarvis. And, of course, Paris Cashfly Martineau. Our show today brought to you literally by Cashfly. It's our CDN, our content delivery network. For over 20 years, Cashfly has held the track record for high-performing, ultra-reliable content delivery. It's the Pepper Cannon of content delivery, serving over 5,000 companies in 80 countries, including ours, by the way. One of the reasons we love it, it's global. So no matter where you're listening to our shows, when you download them, you're getting them fast, without buffering, without waiting. We've been using Cashfly since we started. Actually, the first few years of Twit were painful. arduous because we were using AOL radio for the downloads and BitTorrent. And also, if you've been around for a while, you may remember all these crazy ways to get it. And then Matt Levine from CashFly, one of their founders, he called me and said, let us help, please. And people have come to us since saying, we can do it. Nope. I am a CashFly diehard. I believe in CashFly. They saved our lives. We love their lag-free video loading, their hyper-fast downloads, their friction-free site interactions. We love their customer service. CashFly is the only CDN built for throughput. They can do, get this, ultra-low latency video streaming delivered to over 1 million concurrent users, less than 1 second latency. Nothing, right? If you're a gaming company, you'll love their lightning fast gaming. So will your customers. Delivers downloads faster, zero lag, glitches or outages. Mobile content optimization is great for sites that have images. Automatic simple image optimization so your site loads faster on any device. Now, one of the things they did for us, which was great, and they will do for you too, we didn't know, well, how should you bill us? Because, when Twig comes out, there's this big spike of downloads and then it trickles off for the rest of the week. And so our traffic was very up and down spiky. They worked with us and they will work with you to get you flexible month-to-month billing for as long as you need to. And then once you figure out what the best way to handle this is, they'll give you discounts for fixed terms. The point is you design your own contract when you switch to CashFly. CashFly delivers rich media content up to 158% faster than other major CDNs. CashFly, and we do this, allows you to shield your site content in their cloud, which means no more cache misses, 100% cache hit ratio. And with CashFly's elite managed packages, trust me, you get the best VIP treatment. You get a dedicated account manager who will help you get started. They'll be with you from day one, making sure there's a smooth implementation. And of course, you'll always get reliable 24/7 support when you need it. And I'm not making this up because we get it. And I can vouch for them. They're fantastic. Learn how you can get your first month free at cashfly.com/twit. You heard me say it, right? Over and over again. Bandwidth for This Week in Google is provided by CashFly at CACHEFLY.com/twit. Thank you, CashFly. And thank you, Matt Levine. He used to take us out to a great steak dinner every year at CES. Haven't been to CES in a while, though, not since COVID. All right, now it is time for Jeff Jarvis's. We need a little. I think I have some echo I can put on here. A little.
You should do the demon voice.
Should I do the demon voice?
No.
You could switch in between the two.
No, I'll just do some. I think I have some echo here somewhere. Well, I need to give myself a button for it. It's time for Jeff's pick of the week. Or should I say it?
No, that's not that.
Pick
That's
of the
later.
week.
No.
It's
Well,
time
not pick,
for
but
Jeff to talk about a story that he'd like.
So I complain about the New York Times and the Washington Post these days, but I also like to point out good journalism when I see it. And the New York Times Magazine had a great story related to another story you had, Leo, on the rundown about a Prospera, a ultimate capitalist haven in the Honduras, funded by Peter Thiel, Sam Altman, and Mark Andreessen.
Live there? They keep doing this. These guys.
They do, and
Remember
this is the bad
when
one.
we were watching the Google I/O and Larry Page said, we just need a Google Island where there'll be no government restrictions.
At the time, you and I said we wanted to move there. Yeah.
Well, not
So
anymore.
this is unbelievable. It is just the worst imagining of crypto libertarian. There's no laws here, but you have to sign a 2,500 page document when you come on. You agree to arbitration by 3 retired Arizona judges. Honduras is trying to get rid of them. They allow kind of any business to come in. So
let me guess, it's tax free, right?
Well, it was, but then they've gotten some more of that.
Because you need to pay for stuff.
Well, it was duty free. It was duty free. Then the government insisted on duties, right?
Yeah.
The early members of the group overseeing it included former Ronald Reagan speechwriter Mark Klugman, anti-tax activist Grover Norquist, libertarian economist Mark Susan, Ronald Reagan's son, Ronald Reagan. So they have all these businesses there. They have a Guatemalan entrepreneur who's already identified a couple of plots of land. Where was it here? I missed it up.
Yeah, if Grover Norquist is involved, it's definitely a way to avoid taxation.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is.
That's the whole point. We don't want to give any of our hard-earned, ill-gotten gains to the government.
Well, here it is. I found it now.
Or to any of you lazy people who don't deserve any of my money.
So you can move there. You can become a citizen there, I guess. But you can also just incorporate your business there.
But aren't you a Honduras citizen, or did they have somehow get around that?
They have their own thing. So they have 222 businesses there, including Mini Circle, founded by two young biohackers, offers a product they say might cure Alzheimer's and suppress all tumors.
It might.
It might.
Might not.
No one says it won't.
Symbiont Labs manufactures implants that turn people into, quote, self-sovereign cyborgs. The Bay Islands Fitness and Transformation Center offers affordable semaglutide injections, and Global Alliance for Regenerative...
Nobody wants a fat entrepreneur.
They offer stem cell treatments. There's also a dome where they have special events for businesses, biotech innovators who want to, quote, make death optional.
Yes.
Love the death optional dome.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm looking at this picture in the New York Times, and the thing that's most prominent to me is the golf course.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's just truly obnoxious, truly terrible. There's a English-speaking black community nearby that they're trying to kind of subsume.
So the Honduran government's not happy to have.
They're not happy right now. Well, the Honduran government's gone through a few regimes lately. So it was an earlier regime where they snuck in with all this, and it's a really well reported story. I think it's really good journalism, but it's tied to another story that you had in the rundown, Leo.
Well, it's not the only place that billionaires.
Can I just read a couple lines from the story that I just came across?
Such great stuff. I couldn't find them. Yeah,
talking about how the reporter's talking about how they weren't allowed in any of the conferences or things. He's like, so I just hung up by the pool and down the street at the Amity Age Academy, an old restaurant that a Slovakian math tutor had turned into a Bitcoin education center and cafe. That's where I met Zussel Ramos. At the time, Amity Age's 25-year-old lead educator, next to a bookshelf stocked with Ludwig von Mises' Bureaucracy, Ayn Rand's Capitalism,
of course,
and Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life.
Natch.
Oh, dear.
I bought a coffee. The barista let me pay with fiat paper money on a one-time basis.
And
then Ramos took me on a tour.
Oh.
On the walls downstairs hung a Bitcoin mining machine, a portrait of Guy Fawkes astride a buckling green stallion, and a map of Rotan with colored squares of paper marking the dozens of businesses that now accept Bitcoin. Nightmare.
Wow.
Also, in order to enter the jurisdiction, I was told I needed to sign an agreement of coexistence, quote, binding myself to 4,202 pages of rules, violations of which would be subject to jurisdictional authority of the arbitration center. And again, that arbitration center is run by 3 retired Arizona judges.
Wow.
This is.
Did he sign?
Wait, there's another one. So the week of my visit, the grandson of Milton Friedman and founder of a startup city that invested in Prospera had a chip with a Tesla key implanted in his hand. On a previous trip, he brushed his teeth with genetically modified bacteria purported to prevent cavities. Another time, he was injected with a protein booster intended to make him stronger and faster, as he put it at a conference in Roatan that weekend.
I think I speak for all of us when I say, go. Just go. Go to Honduras. Yeah. Go live in your little fantasy land, which will collapse under its own weight. Just brush your teeth with whatever poop you want to. Just get out of our lives. Puerto Rico tried this. Remember, Puerto Rico doesn't have an income tax as a way of developing, getting people. And it became a Bitcoin paradise. I think a lot of this is driven by cryptocurrency.
Oh, those nut jobs are out there everywhere now. Yeah.
The story I have is from Solano County, which is just up north of.
And these are, I would say, better, not bad guys. They're at least better.
Yeah, it started with Michael Moritz, whose name you probably know. He was the super agent, right, and a billionaire.
Doesn't he support San Francisco Standard? Isn't that Mike Moritz?
Maybe, yeah. He decided in 2017 that if they bought up land without telling anybody what they were up to in the agricultural county north of San Francisco, about 60 miles north, it's just over here a piece. It's cheap because it's very hot and it's zoned agricultural.
They didn't tell anybody what they were doing.
There's not a lot of water. They tried to keep it secret because they wanted to get the land cheap and they knew that prices would go up. He went to Mark Andreessen Horowitz, got money. LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman, Laurene Powell Jobs, Steve Jobs' widow. They spent $800 million, bought 60,000 acres they would call California Forever. The idea was they were going to get it rezoned, turn it into a city, kind of a utopia, right? And I don't think they had the same kind of let's get away from all the laws and the taxation idea. They just wanted to have a sensible city where people could walk, people could live with their families. But before any of this could happen, they had to get the indigenous population of Solano County. We'll call them the Indians. No, they weren't Indians, but the indigenes of Solano County to vote to rezone it because it's zoned agricultural. You can't build anything there. They put a ballot measure on the ballot for November, spent $9 million for TV ads, website banners, billboards. They just pulled it because they realized they're going to lose.
Bad.
Rip.
It's going to lose by maybe in a poll commissioned in March by the opposition. 400 county voters found 70% said they'd vote against it.
Yeah.
Voters were highly aware of the issue. They weren't as ignorant as these billionaires were hoping. 3/4 saying they'd heard of California Forever. They decided we better not proceed with this because if we lose, it's all over.
And it really strikes me as a new kind of white flight is, San Francisco is going downhill, so let's just abandon it. And
it was close enough to San Francisco so that you would be still connected, right? You could commute if you wanted to.
Right.
But the idea was get companies to move there. I understand we all have this kind of, I have a utopian streak. I would like to live in a walkable city where there were no longer.
You can do that. It's
Brooklyn.
called moving to Brooklyn.
Oh, kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't have to have Starlink because my internet works.
Ugh.
Don't
Do you have
jinx yourself.
fiber?
Sorry.
Who's your internet
Verizon,
provider?
Fios.
Yes, I don't want that. Verizon's as bad as Comcast.
No. I've had 2 weeks ago it was for me, but otherwise it's not.
I will say,
you were sitting out doing the show on your patio, Jack.
I'm going to continue knocking on wood because what I'm saying sounds like it's about to jinx me.
Yeah, you are.
In the 6 years that I've had Verizon Fios, I've never had an issue.
I think you're in such a dense population area that it makes sense for them to just, put it everywhere. And
I mean, I
sure
also do choose where I live based on Fios. Like I was looking at a different apartment a couple of years ago and I was like, I probably won't go there because I'd have to have not Comcast. But
There's a nice new retirement community in the Bronx, Leo.
The Bronx?
Oh, the Bronx is there's a new book out right now just saying the Bronx is the place. It's not.
It's
Brooklyn
the next
anymore.
big place. Is it getting gentrified?
Yeah. Book just out this week.
New York, it's a hell of a town. The Bronx is up and the battery's down. The people ride around in the train in the ground. New York.
Oh, there's the
That's
watermark.
going to be you next week.
Luxury senior living in Brooklyn Heights.
Oh,
very
Brooklyn
nice.
Heights is lovely.
I used to live there.
Can I go down and get a schmear and a nosh?
Yeah. Oh, this looks wonderful. The watermark at Brooklyn Heights. I think maybe we could be neighbors there, Leo.
Yeah. Do they have a podcast studio in the
watermark in
building?
Brooklyn
It's Murders in the Building. We'll just do that. And the three of us, it's perfect. We are Murders in the Building.
We are Murders in the Building.
I remember
we could solve crimes.
I remember
That's
talking to Steve Martin during COVID, and he said, "Yeah, I'm working on a new show, but I don't want to leave the building." And it's a hit, right? It's a hit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not in his building. It's in
Right.
a building that's uptown a little bit, but otherwise,
Yeah, he wouldn't want that, actually.
no, he really doesn't want it in his building. Yeah, it's amazing. Well, we had Douglas Rushkoff on, right? Talking about the billionaire's plans to live in,
Yeah.
decommissioned missile silos and all of that. I think it would be better if all these rich people had a stake in the communities that they're in, so they would make them better instead of saying, yeah, we can't deal with this local government, we're getting out.
Yeah.
I think that we should follow a tried and true method as depicted in the early 2000s game BioShock, where all the rich people that want to do this can just finance
Underwater.
a precarious underwater living space, and whatever happens there, that's their problem.
I loved that series because it was so retro. It was really, the look and
It
feel
was
of
phenomenal.
that was great. What a great game that was. Yeah. We should bring that back. Are they doing a BioShock 4?
I don't think so. I think
It's just done.
they maxed it out.
I like it. Where they
BioShock.
just finished it. They don't make
I
too
think that's
many.
good.
Yeah,
I
they're just
think
done.
you stop while you're ahead.
So let me ask you, Paris, because you rent, right?
Yes, I do.
Do you notice that rents are exorbitant?
Yes, in
Yes.
New York especially. I believe there was just a study that came out either by like Zillow or Zumper that the average rent for a one bedroom in New York City is $4,500, which is insane. I'm very lucky in that during the last gasps of the pandemic rental crash, moved into a lovely apartment that I'm still in with.
Is it rent controlled?
No, but it is. My landlords live in the building, and they're two delightful, much older twin sisters who bought this building with their money from both working at with their Pfizer Viagra money from when they worked there, and really like just knowing who their tenants are.
And they
So,
fell over you because you're
Yeah.
they just want to nudge your cheeks. Yeah, I know.
I mean, who would?
That's like the Pigeon Sisters
Yeah.
from The Odd Couple. You live downstairs from the Pigeon Sisters.
Basically, yes.
The Craig Newmark would love that. Well, one of the reasons the rent is so damn high,
As they say. Yeah.
as
Too
they
damn
say,
high.
is and the Justice Department has gone after these guys now. They sued them on Friday. There's a software called Realpage that is used by landlords everywhere across the country. They have let's see. Let me see if I can see the number here. They have a huge market share. And what they do is they use AI to collate information about what people pay, what they're willing to pay, what prices stimulate traffic on a page, and what prices keep people from renting. And it has effectively raised prices on renters illegally, according to the Department of Justice. They're the top software provider to the multifamily rental industry. The lawsuit says Realpage has built a business out of frustrating the natural forces of competition.
Wait. Isn't that what every landlord has always done, is try to raise the prices as high as they can?
But they didn't have the information to really let them nudge it.
Well, part of what's the problem here is it's not they have the information because they bought all these buildings.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the multifamily thing. That's the problem.
Training a machine, says Merrick Garland, to break the law is still breaking the law. The average rent has skyrocketed 33% since the beginning of the pandemic. Realpage management software is purposely built to be legally compliant, says Realpage, and we have a history of working constructively with the Department of Justice to show that. It's based in Richardson, Texas. It helps residential landlords market vacant apartments, screen prospective tenants, and set rents. I have to say, since my kids are renters, I've watched with real interest how much it's changed since I was a renter back in the day. It wasn't that long ago, but you go through, it's all online. It's very automated. There's no Pigeon Sisters in most cases. You're dealing with a big company that owns many, many, many units. Thoma Bravo, the big private equity company, acquired Realpage in 2021.
It's worth noting this story was kind of busted open by a fantastic series of investigations by ProPublica, and the lead of one of them takes readers inside a real estate executive summit in 2022, and a VP of Realpage says, like, never before have we seen these numbers, posting like how much money they're making. They're saying apartment rates have recently shot up by as much as 14.5%, he said in the video touting the company's services. Turning to his colleague, Parsons asked, what role had Realpage's software played? And another Realpage executive says, I think it's driving it, quite honestly. As a property manager, there are very few of us would be willing to actually raise rents double digits within a single month by doing it manually. So, yeah.
Well,
there's
a burning lease for you. Yeah.
Department of Justice says Realpage is an algorithmic intermediary that collects, combines, and exploits landlords' competitively sensitive information, and in so doing enriches itself and compliant landlords at the expense of renters who pay inflated prices and honest businesses that would otherwise compete. 80% of the market for commercial revenue management software, they have 80% of the market.
Wow.
And the Realpage says, well, we anonymize it. Landlords don't have insight into competitors' pricing, but that's why it works, right? They have this big database, and landlords in your area have effectively raised rent by 0.38%.
But here's the thing again, is who's responsible in that case? The provider of the data or the person who exploits it as a price gouger?
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I think if it allows you to collude, then you probably have a pretty good case against it, right?
Is that collusion?
Actually, I follow this story because this story fascinates me. And I think
Benito, our producer, is talking. Yes.
Like, that's the bottom line. I think it's the collusion aspect of it that that people really, really hate. Is that we
know it's caused gouging. My daughter pointed me to the ProPublica story when that broke, and we know it's causing gouging because rental prices have gone skyrocketed. Right.
And there's all kinds of accounts of people who have to leave their apartment and go to an apartment like in the same complex just to get lower rent.
Right.
And their rent was going to go up $200, but the rent, like a bigger place in the same complex, would be like $200 cheaper.
Yeah, honestly, this is the same technique airlines use to price seats, airplane seats. It's, you don't pay the same price as the guy sitting next to you ever. It's all over the place.
This is why price gouging is an issue in this election. But it's not price control.
Right.
It's
price gouging.
Yeah.
But the ability to use software, and in a way, this is AI, right? To actually analyze the prices and figure out what the optimal price for your apartment, optimal in the sense of how much money you can get for it.
By the way, this is also happening with our general goods. Like, that's why everything's getting more expensive.
Right. Mm-hmm. Anyway, interesting story. DOJ going after this company. We'll see what the courts say. I think you're right, Jeff. It's complicated. What is the law, and who is at fault? Let's see what else. So those are our three choices. Let's take a little break and come back, and you could pick some more stories from the giant pile.
It's a democracy today.
I proclaim this week in Google.
We are in Honduras in the jungle.
To be a tax-free
democracy.
That's right. Jeff Jarvis, Paris Martineau, Leo Laporte.
I'm 75% Bitcoin.
Yeah. Your fiat paper currency is not welcome here. No.
Not on this podcast.
Unless you're an advertiser, in which case it's more than welcome.
Yeah. Well, pennies. Please. It's fine.
Pennies.
Just rolls of pennies is okay.
Please. We'll take it. We do thank, by the way, our fabulous Club Twit members who send us their rolls of pennies, 700 pennies every month. It makes a big difference in our
that makes it sound so inexpensive.
It's nothing.
It's nothing.
It's
700 pennies a month.
You're not even using those pennies.
Right.
No.
Don't roll them up and send them to me. Lisa's going to kill me. She's going to say, what did you do? What did you do, Leo?
I've got a story. My dear beloved departed father-in-law, who was a dentist in Hoboken, when copper prices were going up, he decided, I'm going to make a fortune. And he bought a mountain of pennies. And when he died,
He didn't
God
know they
bless
were
his
made of
soul,
zinc anymore, right?
They were. We still have some of
What
them
was
downstairs
his
because we have
thinking
to.
behind
they're
this?
copper. He
That
thought
the
they were
copper and the
copper.
price would go up, and it was
Oh,
fine.
boy. But they're
so
not
it was
copper.
literally a mountain of pennies. It was about 5 feet tall, about 5 feet each side.
Were they copper
it was
pennies?
A mount. Yes, they were, and
Oh,
we still
okay.
have some of them. And I bet there's some valuable pennies.
You know
in
what?
that.
They're valuable. If you can melt them down, the copper is worth more than the penny now.
I think that's illegal, though, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
If you hadn't mentioned it on a podcast, you could probably have gotten away with it.
Or the Pavel Durov.
Now we've got the evidence.
Of pennies.
The Pavel Durov of penny.
Jeff suddenly brings
call
up
him
his
Pavel
20
Penny.
copper bars
Penny
that he got
Pavel.
from nowhere.
Actually, that's if you want to get historic on this, there's a fascinating discussion about this because I didn't realize this. In the early days of coinage, it really was, this is how much that silver is worth. And it wasn't too long before they realized all our coinage is getting cut up into little pieces, pieces of 8. It's a fascinating story. And of course, it comes back to the war over the gold standard and the silver standard and the bimetal standard a couple of hundred years ago in the U.S. This was bitterly fought. But it wasn't too long before mints realized we should not make the coins out of actual valuable metals. Originally they were, right? If you had a penny, it was a penny's worth of copper, and it was stable because it was stabilized by the value of gold and silver. They didn't use copper in those days. But now most pennies are zinc because it's too expensive to make them out of copper. It's really someday we should do a podcast on the monetary standards. I don't know how I got into it, but I started reading up on it, and it's the Monetary Standard podcast. I know
that'll have rushing in by the droves to watch.
Here's a story that from our
You
AI
didn't finish
division.
Did you finish thanking your members? I interrupted you.
Join the Twit Club. $7 a month. Twit.tv/.
700 pennies.
You get a lot of good stuff out of it. Ad-free versions of all the shows. You get the special events. You also get the fuzzy feeling that you have contributed to our survival and you want to keep more content like this on the air. I don't know why you would, but you can. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit. Well, I'm a terrible salesman.
Support us. Jeff's going to have to dig into that stack of his father-in-law's pennies.
Do you know how much it weighed, the mountain of pennies?
No, I don't. And one box of pennies is very heavy.
He bought a mountain of pennies.
Yeah. It was in the
How
basement.
does that work? Was that shipped via the mail? Did some poor postal worker have to carry boxes of pennies?
Doc knew everybody. Doc was an amazing character. He was in Hoboken. He was raised and was a dentist in Hoboken.
I love him being like, I got a penny guy, don't worry.
He had guys for everything. So he went to the bank. He went to the bank and he said, I want a lot of pennies. Give me a lot of pennies. He got them.
Give me all your pennies.
Give me all your pennies.
Doc was amazing. He grew up in Hoboken, which is Frank Sinatra's hometown, and it's like one of those movies where the one brother becomes the priest and the other brother the mobster. So Doc knew all these characters, but Doc was the good guy. Doc was the priest of your teeth, and
Tooth priest.
Yeah, he was tooth priest. But he knew all these guys, and he knew how it operated. And Hudson County is renowned for its corruption over the years. So I come in this really white bread, wonder bread fiance from the Midwest. Oh, well, here I am in Hoboken. And my eyes were just wide open. But Fiore's mozzarella is killer. Is just the greatest.
I've added it to my list.
You got to go there. You got to go there. Anyway.
When did they stop? I'm trying to find out when they stopped making
he's into this.
Pennies out of copper because, they couldn't make them out of copper now. People would just melt them down.
Yeah, because people tear down buildings to take wires out.
Oh, my God, yes.
Okay, Fiore's House of Quality mozzarella is a 24-minute drive from the medieval times.
Yeah.
Oh, you could make it. Oh, you're going to have a trifecta.
Look at the images. Look at the images, Paris.
I love that it's called the House of Quality.
Wait a minute. He
It's-
made
it hasn't
mozzarella
changed.
and he was a dentist? I don't understand.
No, that was Fiore's. That's a different
No,
place.
we were
okay.
just before the show started. I don't know why.
Because you were all these things you were going to do.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're
okay,
talking.
I
We're talking
misunderstood.
about my New Jersey circuit, which involves going to Rainforest Cafe, a New Jersey Korean spa, a Japanese grocery store, and then Medieval Times. And Jeff suggested that I add Fiore's House of Quality mozzarella to the list, and I will.
It
They
is.
call
it is
the
classic.
difference between the value of the coin, the face value of the coin, 1 penny in case of the cent, and the copper value of the coin, seigniorage. And actually, countries make money if they make a coin, a 1 penny coin, for less than a cent. They lose money. They have negative seigniorage if it costs them more than a penny to make a penny, right? I'm just trying to find out when. Okay, up to 1857, the penny was 100% copper. See, you're this guy. He had the
was
wrong
smart.
idea.
Oh, wrong.
No, he wasn't smart. When did he buy this?
Oh, God.
They were still 95% copper through 1962, through
Probably did
1982.
it in
Oh,
the 80s.
okay. In 1982, they stopped making copper pennies.
That's probably when he did it. He probably
and they made
yeah.
copper-plated zinc.
Yeah, that's when he did it. And he knew the copper was going to go up in value.
So between September and October 1982, the penny went from 95% copper to 2.5% copper.
See, he was
Okay,
really
so what was the
smart.
take? How much did he make?
Well, he did because we never got rid of them because he didn't know how to get rid of them.
Oh.
He died.
You got to put them in a crucible and melt them and make copper ingots.
You can't say this on the podcast, Leo. They're recording us right now.
Well, this is why they stopped making them out of copper. I mean, they knew this was going to be a problem. Did you know that until 1857, the penny was the same size as the dollar, the US dollar coins?
The dollars were tiny.
Yeah. Okay, enough.
Well, and then meanwhile on Facebook, so I put up a picture of Fiore's in the Discord. That's what it's looked like this for years.
I put up some videos, and they're quite good.
Yeah, you don't want to get the roast beef. Don't listen to all that. You just get the mozz on the bread. That's it. That's it. That's all.
Mozz? What's mozz? Oh, mozzarella.
Mozzarella.
It's a Fiore's
Mozzarella.
House of Quality. This seems like something that would be in The Sopranos.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So they make
You
their
gotta
own
wait.
mozzarella.
Look at that. Look at
It is. It is
Mozzarella.
Look at that,
incredible.
Mats.
That doesn't look like good mozz.
Oh my
We got good mozz here. So let me tell you
Oh,
something.
you don't know mozz. You don't
Good
know mozz.
mozzarella is like taffy. You got to stretch it and stretch it and stretch it till it gets.
You know what, Paris? We're not going to the fancy restaurant. We're taking
you to Hoboken,
Yeah.
Leo. You're here next week.
For the 7th Street Burger, I want to go
just
here.
want the
7th
mozz.
Street Burger, located in Hoboken, situated on cozy Washington Street, the powerhouse of the burger game.
Wow. They're square.
They're
burgers.
square burgers. Oh, wait a minute. No, they're smash burgers.
They're
So they
smash
take a
burgers, yeah.
square.
As the comment says, Hoboken wants to be NYC so bad. Says the
Hey.
Isn't that where Frank Sinatra was from? It is. Hoboken.
Hoboken. Yeah. No, he knew.
That's all I know about Hoboken.
No, here's the other place we're going to go. Okay, I got it. We're going to White Manor. This is it. I'm putting it in the Discord.
You mean MANOR, right? Not MANA.
MANA. It's in the Discord.
White Manna Original Diner from the 1939 World's Fair.
Yeah, it's smash burgers.
I do love a good smash burger. Look at that. Does it really look like that?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Oh, yeah. I'll go there.
Keep scrolling.
Oh, I'll definitely
I
go there.
love how the insane filter on all of these images.
Yeah.
Nope. Oh.
Let's go back.
really
Wait a minute. Let's
good.
go back to that.
Okay.
There it was.
Cheeseburger, no Pepsi, Coke. Wow, no Coke, Pepsi. Look at that. That does look good.
Yeah.
I apologize for anybody who hasn't had lunch or dinner
Or it's on audio.
or on audio. Actually, you probably looks better in audio, to be honest. Google has rolled out an AI-powered help me create
Wait, I'm sorry,
list.
Google? What's that?
Google? They don't have cheeseburgers. An AI-powered help me. This is the Google change
whoa.
law.
I was about to say, we need an intro for speed doing this willy-nilly.
The Google
We have to have standards around here.
We're quite wacky today.
Scooter X change log from Scooter X in our Discord. Google Keep is rolling out an AI-powered help me create a list on Android. Why would you let an AI create your lists?
I don't like lists. I hate lists.
Leo,
I already have lists.
this was you a few months ago. You would have been like, oh, yes, I need the big AI to please create a list for me. And I need to do it while I'm driving and with voice only. It's the future of technology.
I probably should show on this show because I did get the Pixel. Let me give you.
Yes, you should.
Yeah.
This is
I
the
should
show to
probably.
show that
This
actually.
is the
would be
show
about that,
about a show about Google. I have the new Pixel 9. Let me show you here. This is it. It's a pretty phone. I got the. I guess they call it Obsidian or something. But let me show you.
Did you get the XL, the Pro XL?
Yes, it's giant.
Okay.
Let me show you in the photos some really cool stuff I can do. And I've been doing this. It's been kind of fun on a number of shows. So I have a picture of my kitty cat there. So there's a couple of problems with this picture. First of all, let's edit out that pole coming out of its back. So I'm going to launch. This is the AI. Okay. Circle, brush, or tap to select. I'm going to just circle or brush this pole and say, just erase that pole.
Oh.
Watch this. You see, first of all, I just kind of roughly selected it, but then it knew, oh yeah, you mean this black thing coming out of the kitty's head? No more pole.
Oh, that's great.
No more pole. So let's accept that. That was a good change. But I want to do some more. I'll save a copy. I want to do some more. I want to change this kitty cat. Remember, one of the things it can do is reimagine images.
So it's a blonde cat?
Can you put a top hat on it?
Sure, I can do anything you want. I'll show you. I turned it into a tiger a while ago. That was pretty cool. Please back up this photo to use Magic Editor. Okay. All right. I am now backing it up. So first thing I got to do is circle the cat. So it knows, there it is. See, that's the cat.
Oh, that's good. And it's found it too.
Oh, yeah. It does a pretty good job. Reimagine. You say a cat. How about a monkey with the top hat?
Well, then it's not a cat anymore.
It's not going to be a cat.
No, it still has to be that cat.
In a top hat, right? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
In
You're
a
right,
top
Paris.
hat. You're right.
We've
Paris.
got to, have standards on this show.
Yes.
You can't
the
just
Google
take
change
a cat and make,
Presented by
it's the
Scooter
Google,
X.
It's the cat change log. So now we're generating, let's see, I haven't done this before. I have no idea how this is going to come out. And this is all on device, I believe. Whoops.
The top hat is on its back and it's a different cat. But I do respect the effort.
Wait a minute.
Other than that.
That's bizarre. It's a different cat. And it has a top hat, but it's on its back.
I guess it just pulled it from its archives.
It must have had, you think it had cats with the...
Can you say no?
Reimagine as wearing
on its
top
head.
hat.
On its...
Or maybe just get rid of
head.
a cat. Maybe because it thinks you're trying to make it a different cat.
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. Undo cat changes. A different cat. That's hysterical. Oh, there we go. There you go.
It's a different cat entirely.
But he is wearing it very jauntily.
What if you
I
said
think.
this cat?
off. It's slightly askew.
It's jaunty.
But would
I'm
you
turning
believe
red.
You would totally believe that, wouldn't you? I mean,
This
that.
is a totally different image is the thing. It's
Well-
not the same cat.
All right. Okay.
I think you have to select where you want to put the hat, not the
Well,
cat itself, because
it's
it's going to replace the cat. It's because you selected it.
Oh no. We're
can you say this
reimagine
cat?
it as this cat,
cat
the same
wearing-
cat. How about that? Not
Maybe
a
it
cat.
doesn't know it's a cat.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Imagine as wearing top hat on head.
Let's say the same cat. How about that? Let's
I
see
guess this is a good
if I can
test
outwit
whether it
the AI.
understands
I'm
you.
going to outwit the AI. The editor can't complete this.
Reimagine
cat.
as wearing. I think it doesn't know it's a cat, so I just say wearing a top hat on its head.
How about if I say what? What should I say instead?
It just suggested hairless, which I wasn't expecting.
Okay, let's try that. Imagine a
mechanized.
hairless cat wearing a jester's hat.
Gestures. No, there you go. Okay, fix it.
Yeah.
And so that was the dictation, which actually is very good. I haven't tried the call notes yet. I want to try that. I was mistaken. I thought you couldn't do the call notes in the U.S., but somebody informed me you can, in fact. So
That's true.
Look.
It's a hairless cat.
It's a hairless cat in a jester's hat.
I don't know what's on its back, but it's fun.
Or it's cancer. I don't know. Maybe it's motley. It's jester's motley.
Do you feel like this embodies the spirit of your cat?
Yeah, I don't know. Here, I'll show you some other images I did. Let's get out of this.
Can you just change the color of the fur on this cat? I want to see if it can keep the cat the same way and do something to it.
Okay, here's auto frame. Generating to auto frame. Huh. I think it's, this is one of those things where I'll use it for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I forget that it even is there. Tap and hold to see the changes. Yeah, no, not much auto frame. It did outpaint. There's no lawn there, but it outpainted that. So that's interesting. Let's do something. Oh, actually, I should show you because just like a cooking show, I did do some of these before. Let me show you some of the other images that I generated. There's the tiger. Pretty
small
good, huh?
What a friendly little tiger.
It's a friendly little guy.
Very jovial.
Yeah. Oops, that's the studio. There's the tiger. There's the cat. There's the tiger. And there's the original. I think it's pretty good. Took the pole out, turned him into a tiger. Anyway.
I feel like the main use of this is going to be people doing little bits with their friends.
Yeah.
And not much else.
You could see this would be
like I could see this being useful in
you're at the
Skee-Ball
Mozzarella
group
Palace,
chat.
you're waiting for your order, and you do a little fun thing.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. We announced on MacBreak Weekly that California was going along with Apple's wallet for their driver's license. It's now true for Google as well. The California driver's license will now sit in your Google Wallet. But don't get your hopes up. The law requires you to still carry your driver's license with you, even though you have a digital version.
How come though? Did they ever explain why?
Yeah, because I'll tell you why. You get pulled over and the CHP does not have the special tool to read the driver's license digital. They want to look at
They're also just not. Are you going to hand the cop your phone to take back to your
Well, that's
car?
why they need the
Probably
special tool. The special tool allows you to choose what information is given to the bouncer at the bar or the
There's
police
like a
officers.
barcode on the back of your driver's license, though. Can't they just put that in the app too?
I know. Honestly, that's all they really need, right? Those in the pilot, and there's only 1.5 million Californians allowed in the pilot, will still have to carry their physical IDs. It won't work outside of select retail locations and select TSA airports. Law enforcement, state government agencies, and businesses are not yet accepting digital IDs. So it's one of those. You probably could use it in Honduras, though. I would guess. All right,
Probably.
Scooter X. I'm doing Scooter X's changelog.
A brief aside before we dive back into Scooter X's changelog. A comment from Discord user Wizardling about our cat forays said, "Please stick to hard journalism, guys. No fake cats with hat humps. Only the original cat with a top hat in the correct place." And I just want to say thank you for keeping us honest.
Yes,
No
Wizardling
hat humps.
is definitely the journalistic ombudsman we need. Google TV has added a few more new free channels. I don't even know what Google TV is anymore. It used to be that thing that you got on the dongle. I'm not talking YouTube TV, but Google launched free ad-supported channels on Google TV last year, 80 channels to start. Wow, 120 different channels on Google TV. Get ready for
Is
Family
Chick-Fil-A
Feud.
there? Chick-Fil-A?
No, practically Family Feud Classic.
Oh, God.
Rig TV, which I guess is all big rigs all the time.
Okay, I do actually respect that. I'm not going to watch it, but I respect that it exists.
Court TV Legendary Trials. Cheaters, always good for fun. CBC News Explore for the serious Canadians among us. Film Rise Heartland, Horror and True Crime. Grit Extra. And the channel I'm going to watch, which is Laugh More, Laff. Laugh More. You could see a full list of Google TV's free channels right here. Celebrity Name Game. Who doesn't want to watch? This is a channel entirely devoted to Celebrity Name Game. Stingray Holidayscapes.
Do they have
Laugh
the cutlery
more.
corner on there is my question?
Probably. They've got an entire channel dedicated to Johnny Carson.
Laugh War is
Wu-Tang
all
collection.
of these sitcoms that failed.
Failed?
It's the remake of The Odd Couple. It's a man with a plan, grounded for life, superior
one.
donuts.
Here's one for you, Jeff. The
Millers.
Anger Management Channel.
Why do you think I need that?
Entirely one channel entirely devoted to anger management.
He'll calm down.
Here's one for people who miss having kids in the backseat. It's a channel called Are We There Yet? Unbelievable. Who makes these channels?
God knows.
Well,
There's an
anyway.
MST3K channel. That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's
Well, that's
pretty good.
fun.
Taste Made channel if you like to watch cooking. Cheddar News, which is not, I'm sorry to say, about cheese. Now, if they had a mozzarella news, I'd watch that. What else? Google
I'm
change
trying
log.
to find out more information about what Rig TV is, and there's very little. But I found a tweet from a man called TV Mojo that I guess
Yeah?
he works for.
Yeah,
New York
TV
Magazine.
Mojo. What does he
New
say?
fast channel alert. Today they're unveiling Rig TV, a 24/7 for tough jobs reality TV. It will have episodes of shows such as Black Gold, Monster House, and later this year, Monster Garage. So,
Wow.
a lot of fun stuff.
So
I
I
can't
put myself
watch.
to sleep some nights with the show that is nothing but big cruise ships. It puts me right to sleep.
What are the cruise ships doing?
There's cruising.
So it's just like boats, just boats moving
Well, they
quietly?
have a voice and they talk. Here,
Exciting
Captain
and
Sven
new.
Svensson has
Come
never been to
aboard.
this before. Yeah.
Let's watch a little Rig TV together, shall
Rivera
we?
say it's not even raining at their house.
Oh, wait a minute. This
Yeah,
is
switch me back.
bad. From the creators of The Deadliest Catch comes Rig TV.
You gotta switch me back, Leo.
Pardon me? Oh, I'm on the wrong channel. There we go. I got to change channels on my switcher. From the creators of The Deadliest Catch comes Rig TV, where grit and adventure meet the toughest jobs.
I've seen Black
on
Gold.
Earth. And this is
What
on
is
Roku.
Black Gold?
It's people who are they're nutty people who are literally mining for gold
Oh, well.
with
Very much.
crazy rigs and all kinds of stuff. You'd actually enjoy
It's
it.
ad supported. That's why we're seeing the bounty ad. He looks like the black gold guy. Looks like the guy.
We know, yeah.
Yeah, looks familiar, doesn't he?
No, but
Okay,
I hope-
maybe just me. I have that. I do have a disease that means I don't recognize anybody's faces, and everybody looks familiar.
yeah.
So it's very challenging.
I'm
to
the
walk
opposite.
around.
Everybody looks strange.
Well, that's true. Google Chat adds support for if this then that integrations.
Okay.
That's
Great.
so 2013 of them.
Yeah.
You can have a trigger. I guess you could say new phone who dis to everybody. That would be kind of fun.
You could
what
say,
else?
text me every time a new episode of Black Gold is on Rig TV.
Yeah. Yeah. That also is available, by the way. Google Chat has if this, then that's integrations in Workspace. So that's something for you, Jeff. Google finally lets you record call audio in the US, but only on the Pixel 9. So this is that call notes feature. They never had this before because, of course, it's illegal in some places. But it does warn you when you turn on the call recorder. Apparently, it says this call's being recorded. Okay, I've got to call somebody. I haven't made a phone call in years. But if I seriously, you make phone calls?
All the time. It's my job.
Oh, that's different. You're doing reportage.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I
Do
don't.
you answer the phone?
No.
Paris,
But next time
you
I
ever
do,
answer
next
the
time somebody
phone?
calls, I'm going to do
If
it.
it's
and
an
I'm gonna
unknown
record it.
number to my personal
Yeah, all the time.
number,
Yeah.
no.
How do you talk to your parents?
Well, they call me. I mean, I answer the phone if
phone.
it's someone I know.
No, it's phone. It's just you don't
Yeah.
do Zoom with your parents or something.
No, I think that's
My
ridiculous.
parents do not call me. Google Pixel 9 launches Adaptive Touch, which improves screen sensitivity while wet.
Ooh.
I'm more
That would have
sensitive
been
when
good
wet
for
as
you
well.
earlier today when
Yes.
Leo, before we started the show, unprompted and without any fanfare, just licked the screen of his phone and continued going
Paris was
about as
so
if it was
disgusted.
normal.
She
I
was
was just
so
taken aback.
disgusted.
I wasn't disgusted. I was like, are we moving on
Did
from
you
this?
really
As if
just
you did
do
not
that?
lick. And it wasn't like a tip of the tongue.
No,
Like
no,
it was like
no,
a
it was
full
a-
width lick.
Google Maps is, this is barely news. Google Maps is rolling out redesigned pin shapes and colors.
Whoa.
This right here is why I stopped doing the Google
Google
change log.
log. Yeah. Yeah. Even, no.
No,
Yep.
I mean, you could do this I literally,
Scooter X
one of these
just-
days, we could do this all day. We'll just do the whole show be changelog, and you'll be so bored. So bored. Is there anything really good, Scooter? He's good at this, though.
He
He's
said
really good
Yelp
at this.
filed a lawsuit against Google today.
Oh,
That's been done 100 times.
Google search redesigns web stopwatch and timer. Play Store can now download multiple Android app updates at the same time.
Ooh.
Google posts repair manuals for the Pixel 9. Just tell me when you've had enough. Google Meet, take notes for me, rolling out in Workspace. I think that's enough. And here it is, Mighty Cruise Ships. That's what you watch? It's a
I
Smithsonian.
don't really watch it. It's about 30 seconds and I fall asleep. It's the perfect show for that.
It's very relaxing.
Yeah, it's in a weird way.
Mighty.
I watch Guy Fieri too.
Docudramas?
I know, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. What's even too boring to fall asleep to is Aerial
Have you ever
America.
been on which one?
Aerial America. Have you seen that?
Oh, that's good. No, you're flying
it's
over
boring
stuff.
as hell. Oh my God.
Do you have a TV in your bedroom? Is that how you watch stuff when you fall asleep?
Yeah.
Do you
When you
need,
get
like,
older,
noise to...
you too
When you
will
get
do it
older.
when you get older. Yeah.
Once you stop having
no.
sex, you got to do something.
I made fun of my parents for this, and yeah.
Yeah.
I just like to doom scroll until I fall asleep.
Yeah, that's what the
Generational.
kids
So does
do.
the phone just fall over then?
Yes. Yeah.
Knock
I
you in the
specifically
face.
have kind of a pillow that I rest my hand on so that I
Yes,
can,
yes.
then the phone will fall back and the phone is cradled.
Is
got
it
a phone?
plugged in and charging?
Usually. The Google changelog.
And that's the Google changelog, the enervating Google changelog. Pick some more. Anything?
Okay.
You did your Inside AI show today, yes?
Yes.
With Mr. Jason Howell.
Yes, we did.
Did you come up with anything exciting that's going on in the world of AI?
We did. Let me see what happened. Oh, no.
Journalists are using AI avatars to combat Maduro's crackdown in Venezuela.
It's Venezuela because they don't want to show their faces.
Yep. Gannett is shuttering a site accused of publishing AI product reviews. Ooh.
Because they were taking all that junk. And
Kamala Harris is not going to use AI to train for
there was
debate
a
prep.
proposal that she should have an AI version of Donald
That
Trump.
would be that might be fun to watch, but I
It
don't
would be.
think
It
a
would
good way
be,
to.
but
I don't
would
think it
not
would be
go.
helpful.
No, I don't think so either. But
I want to do this story because I was gonna be in this movie. I've told you this story when I met Francis Ford Coppola and he cast me.
this is a good story.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no, you didn't tell the story. No, you didn't tell that story.
I never
was
told that story?
He
No.
cast you in what?
So way back when I was an acting student, so this is maybe 30 years ago. When you're an early actor, you get this magazine. I know they probably don't have it anymore. Where in the back there's all the auditions, and I spotted an audition for Francis Ford Coppola for Zoetrope. So I submitted a recorded monologue, Macbeth's monologue.
How was it recorded? Was it on a VHS?
Do you
No,
still have
it was just audio,
Do you
'cause it said
still
it was
have
au-
it?
No, I wish I did.
Oh,
It was
shit.
audio. I
Did
think it
you
was
send
audio
it
only.
via mail?
Yes, I mailed it. And
Was it a
they
floppy
called me and they
disk?
said, Francis would like you to come down. So we went to the Zoetrope building in San Francisco with a few other actors.
Wow.
Down in the basement. Francis Ford Coppola, the great director, was pretty big, and I think
Yep.
wore the same black suit every night. It was just like a tent that he wore. And so you go down in the basement. He has a beautiful recording studio, and we recorded from the script that he had. It was for a movie that was going to be called Megalopolis. Now, this was the 80s.
Jeez.
He has been making this movie since then.
Wow.
The recordings that we were making were what they call previs. Some directors, Hitchcock was famous for doing a sketch of each shot. Many modern directors actually make audio comic books, like almost an animated show of the movie ahead of time, and that's apparently what Coppola did. So I was the voice talent for the detective in Megalopolis. I only did it for a few nights. Francis said, "Can you sound more like Bob Woodward?" And I said, "What? How does Bob Woodward sound?"
Like he's from Nebraska.
I think he wanted me to sound more like Dustin Hoffman playing Bob Woodward, but I
Bob
couldn't
Woodward has a unique. No, Bob Woodward and Kurt Anderson sound uniquely alike. They sound like it's like a Nebraska accent.
Well, maybe that's what he wanted. He wasn't clear.
You could have been famous, Leo, if you just listened to him and did what he wanted.
Well, then I made a mistake.
It would have taken a while.
So the next day, I had Father Guido Sarducci on my radio show. You probably don't remember him.
Oh, yes, I do.
He was on Saturday Night Live. He was a comedian, Don Novello, who played one role only. It was a chain-smoking Vatican priest named Father Guido Sarducci with a bad Italian accent. Coppola liked him. He's cast him in other movies. I made the mistake of mentioning, oh yeah, I've been working with Francis. We're doing the voice track.
You mentioned on air.
Well, I was during the interviews, but it probably wasn't on air, but it was.
Oh, okay.
No. I know. I know better than that. But during a break, I said, oh, Don, I was, I know you're friends with Francis. I'm doing. He called and snarfed my job. They recast the part with Don Novello. So that was that. Anyway, the movie is finally out after 40
With Don Novello
years.
in it?
No, I doubt it.
Okay, let's pull up the trailer, not play audio, but I'll read the first 45 seconds because that's going to lead into what you want to talk about next.
Yes.
Okay.
Dramatic.
Let me see if I can get the trailer.
So a trailer for this movie recently comes out. People have been talking about how it's crazy, It's going to be so interesting.
Have you seen it
Working
on
it for
TV?
how
Because
many
I have.
decades?
I have
I
seen
don't
it.
watch
It's
TV.
been running. Ah, that's why.
But
too cool for
maybe if I
that.
did.
So here is the Megalopolis teaser trailer. This is a movie Coppola has wanted to make his whole life.
You see the Statue of Liberty.
The city
Is
of
this-
Manhattan.
Gotham.
Oh no, what's coming from the sky?
This isn't the trailer.
It's not.
Wait, no. Is it?
Oh, no.
Well, it's a teaser trailer. I'll get the other trailer. There must
It's
be another
the
trailer.
trailer with
They
the
took the
quotes.
trailer down,
Do you know
I
what
think.
I mean, they did take it down. Is the
Oh, well,
thing.
maybe that's why I can't find it. You should have mentioned that.
They've got to,
Here it is.
a version
Extended
somewhere.
4K UHD version from YouTube, okay? Don't Take Me Down, Baby. From Francis Ford Coppola. Is this what you were talking about?
No,
it's
I'm gonna
got
try and find
No.
it's got what's his name in it? Oh, there's chariots. There's Roman races.
Oh, this does look overdone.
So you know who has my part?
Who?
Adam Driver.
Jeez.
There he is. That's my part. Damn it. The young actors always take over for the older actors, right? Anyway, anyway, apparently that trailer was made with AI. Is that what you're saying?
No.
So-
Okay, go ahead.
let me see if I can find it. The
Megalopolis
gonna
cuts
get-
ties with marketing
Basically-
consultant behind trailer
They knew it was
Debacle.
going to get bad reviews.
Oh,
the
the
trailer
quotes.
opens
Yes.
basically with a bunch of short clips from Coppola's past films. You have, a clip from Apocalypse Now, and then it flashes on it a quote from Vincent Canby of the New York Times that described the movie as hollow at its core. There's one from, about The Godfather, and someone says,
Pauline
it
Kael.
was like really just vacuous or something.
Right.
All these quotes from named critics basically saying, and then it goes into the Megalopolis trailer, and basically what this is communicating is, critics, they're always gonna be wrong, but the
They didn't
movies
like his masterpieces
Coppola makes
before.
are classics.
Right.
Somebody does the job of Googling these quotes, they don't exist. The named critics in this that, panned Apocalypse Now or panned Godfather, all these other things, they actually wrote glowing reviews
Of course
of those
they did.
films, and they had nothing even remotely resembling those quotes in their actual reviews from the time. Someone, I think this originally started because people on Twitter were trying to figure out where this came from. Someone has the bright idea, ask ChatGPT, hey, give me an overview of all the negative reviews critics have published about Coppola.
And ChatGPT, always wanting to please,
gives them a bunch of reviews, some of which are the ones that are cited in this.
So it wasn't really malfeasance, except that it's like the lawyer used the AI
exactly,
to write
then
his
didn't
pleading.
check it.
And didn't check it. That's
And obviously-
actually a brilliant thing to do. Ask the AI. Yeah.
Brief, caveat is we don't know for certain that this person used ChatGPT, but articles started to come out saying they appear to be fabricated. We can't find the sourcing of it, but if you ask ChatGPT, it does give the quotes. And then Lionsgate said, we screwed up. We're sorry.
Yeah.
We're immediately recalling our trailer for Megalopolis.
Wow.
And they blamed this marketing consultant for...
and cut ties with them.
Yeah.
Megalopolis
mistake.
comes out September 27th. Coppola financed it himself. He's wanted to make this movie forever. No studio would do it. He financed it to a tune of $100 million. Listen to the précis. It's a Roman epic set in an imagined modern America, starring Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, Natalie Emanuel, and many more, but not Leo Laporte.
I can't believe you read the lines for the Adam Driver lead
It was
role.
really good. It was a kind of a noir detective thing set in a kind of fictional future. It was
You
really
know what?
cool.
Adam Driver sounds a little bit like Bob Woodward.
He wanted Woodward, and I just, I wish you'd been on my shoulder.
Go
You
find
could
some audio
do
from Bob.
Midwest.
Find any interview from Bob Woodward. It's a very distinct way to speak. It's very slow.
See, Coppola knew Bob Woodward. The problem was I knew who Bob Woodward was, but I didn't know how he sounded. Coppola probably was
And
buddies.
you didn't have Google then.
I should have said, get Woodward then, if you want me to sound like Bob Woodward.
Find any audio of Bob Woodward. There's tons
No,
of
I know. We've gone far enough down
All
this.
right, fine.
In fact, this might be a good time to wind things up. Unless I've missed some big story that we should be doing. Zuckerberg says the Biden administration pressured Meta to censor COVID-19 content. But really, the pressure came entirely... What do you do? You're listening to Bob Woodward. I explicitly said...
Through material, looking for something that might be meaningful, and you...
Oh, yeah, he sounds Midwestern.
Yeah.
Looking for something.
Frankly,
That's not how I would have read that part at all. It was much more like a Dashiell Hammett kind of Sam
That's why you
Spade
didn't get it,
character.
because that's very Coppola to know that this guy was not going to be what you expected. He was going to be a slow talking.
Francis, no one wants to hear. That's how Adam Driver sounds.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Not how Don Novello sounds. But okay. Okay.
I'm sorry. It hurts still. I know, Leo.
It's painful.
Your career gone.
The California AI safety bill has passed California state legislature by a wide margin of 41 to 9.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, of course, a lot of legislators and a lot of normal people said this is a terrible bill. But I
A lot
think
of AI companies seem to back it.
I think they kind
Well,
of they back
Sam
it.
Altman and Elon Musk, because it's
Yeah.
regulatory capture.
Right.
Yeah.
So it has passed. Is it? But it still has to be
I
signed.
don't know what the governor's. Yeah, I don't think the governor. They changed it. They made some modifications, but I don't know what the governor's going to do.
One of the things OpenAI has done recently, this is a story from the Information's AI agenda, they showed a new model to the feds, Strawberry.
See, and that's an example of them trying to suck up to the government.
Yeah.
It's regulatory capture.
Yeah. And thanks to Stephanie Palazzolo for writing the story. But I think this is kind of what the idea of the law is that we kind of want a heads up on what the AIs are doing, what the dangers are. We want to kill
But how do you
switch.
show it to them? Oh, look, it'll make a picture of a cat and put the hat on the head. You know, and, what are you going to show?
I agree. This
I'd
is,
like you
by
to
the
briefly
way,
click a link I put in the Discord, which is to the original article, the information published on this strawberry AI, solely because the art our team developed for this concerns
good.
me to look at it. It's upsetting.
oh,
It's a
interesting.
strangely muscular man
It
with a
is.
strawberry head generated by AI, and it haunts me.
A naked man.
They replaced it later, right?
It's Mid-Journey.
If you're wondering about the strawberry and said, well, wait, what model is that? This is the one they called Q or Q.
Yeah,
Q
that's
Star.
right.
Yeah,
And
it's
this is the one that's
Q-Star.
going to reason. This is
Yeah.
going to have reasoning.
They could do math. They could do reasoning.
You can do
I don't
math
think
it
it said
hasn't
math.
seen before.
I think this is a good promo for OpenAI and like, oh, it's so good we had to show it to the government first.
Oh, that's exactly what they're doing. Yeah, it's all hype.
This is from my colleague's article earlier this week. When given additional time to think, the strawberry model can also answer customers' questions about more subjective topics, such as product marketing strategies. To demonstrate Strawberry's prowess with large language-related tasks, OpenAI employees have shown their coworkers how Strawberry can, for example, solve New York Times connections.
That's a hard one. Can you solve New York Times connections?
Yeah.
Oh, don't be so cocky. Let's just let's just see.
Okay.
I guarantee you I can't.
I love connections.
I
It's
hate
a newer
It's very
game from
fun.
the
I hate them.
Times, and it's tough. Yeah.
Have you played Strands? I love Strands.
No.
It's an even newer game.
Okay. Wait, is that the one where?
Kind of like a word search, but it's
Yeah,
kinda-
I hate word
We've
search
talked about it
games.
in the show
I hate
before.
word search games. All right. This is today's connections. Forgive us if we're spoiling it. Just close your eyes right now.
All right,
The
well,
idea
we gotta refresh or whatever where it scrambles them because they always put things in it
To confuse
where,
you.
like to confuse you with.
Okay, there's
shuffle
tip
it.
number one. Mix it up. The idea
Mix
is
it up
there's-
because they definitely put stuff next to stuff.
Yeah.
To make you think it's
Like, you
one
look at
thing.
it,
and
you
it's
think
not.
swings,
martini and
yo-yo,
teetotaler.
teeter-totter. Yeah, that's all kids stuff, right? So the idea is there's 16 words here. There's 4 groups. So there's going to be 4 words in a group that are related. And we'll shuffle it because you don't want to fall for that.
Swing.
Monkey bars, tetherball,
bars, no.
teeter-totter.
No,
not
no.
teetotaler.
A slide.
No, I don't think it's tether bar. I think it's going to be
swings
on
in
a
a
playground.
playground.
Swings.
Yeah.
Playground.
So slide and swing. So not tether bar though. It's 4. right?
Tetherball is in a playground.
No, that's more of it. No.
All right, let's try it. Submit. And that's the look you want, where it goes boing, boing, boing.
Playground equipment.
Now, that was the easy one because it's yeller. Pendulum, martini, tea bag, steps, yo-yo, desert, humor, tetherball, teetotaler, blues, teeth.
Yo-yo, teabag, tetherball, and pendulum all have strings attached.
Whoa.
You're good at this.
I
You gotta
think
remember
we
the
have a
last
winner, chicken dinner. Look at that. This guy's brilliant. All have strings attached.
Whoa.
Oh, all right. Now we have martini, humor, desert, steps, boomer, teeth, blues, and teetotaler. Martini and teetotaler don't go together, do they?
Humor and boomer rhyme.
Humor and boom. I always hate that because I know it's not, oh, they rhyme. That would be, no.
Sometimes it's stuff like where the first half is different as well.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes they're really mean on these. I don't know.
It
How
should
much
be illegal to have to
effort
do
is
this
wasted?
live on a show.
Well, you said you were really good at
Well,
it.
I didn't know you were going to challenge me.
I'm just teasing you.
I'm really good,
Just
but I'm
teasing
also
you.
very anxious.
Yeah. Martini. Oh, these are things that are dry.
Oh, dry humor.
Dry humor.
Teetotaler
And teetotaler
is
is
dry. as
Dry.
well.
Ah. Yeah, baby. Now,
Steps, blues, teeth, and boomer.
so here's the question. You know that these are the group. Do you try to figure it out before you submit, or you just go, yeah, well, I know that one?
I usually try like baby
think about
steps, baby blues,
Baby blues, baby teeth, baby
That's
boomer.
what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very good. You are good at this. Look at that. Perfect.
Perfect.
Wasted life.
Yeah, it's way better to watch the cruise ship show.
I could be watching the cruise ship chat. Sure. But no, I choose
Black
to use
gold.
my brain. All right, let's take a little break. And then your picks of the week. We just did a pick, which was New York Times Connection. And then Strands.
I've got a really good pick this week.
Okay. Great. You're watching This Week in Google with Jeff Jarvis, officially emeritus. Can you announce your new job yet?
No, I can't yet. No,
okay, still negotiating. But you know what? His real job is writing fantastic books like the Gutenberg Parenthesis magazine and The Web We Weave, soon to be in a bookstore near you.
And his job is being angry at the New York Times online. It's very important.
It is indeed, lady.
And I'm going to buy you a Google TV so you can watch the anger management channel. And you know what? It would take away the spice. It would take away all the fun.
You know, it's funny because I talked to a New York Times reporter yesterday for an obit they're writing on somebody I knew. And then I just got an email from somebody who's from the New York Times who's writing a book who wants to interview me. And they can't stand me.
Are they aware of your stand against them? Do they know?
I suspect so.
I bet
as a group, me, Jay Rosen, other people. Mark.
You know
Jacob.
what? They're saying in their heads, and they're saying, oh, he's just a Harris fan, formerly a Biden fan.
Yep.
And he doesn't like our treatment of the Democratic Party. And that's just partisan politics.
I feel like they're probably just like people get mad online at us all the time.
We've succeeded when that happens. When we piss everybody off.
You know what I say? When Lisa says, oh my God, you won't believe what they're saying about us on Twitter. I say, it's just Twitter. Who cares?
I think that's
what I say.
Yeah.
And I bet you that's what Arthur Oakes Salzberger says.
AG. Arthur Gregg.
AG. Also, Paris Martineau from The Information, which is a must-subscribe website with the best scoops, the best information. I just renewed my subscription. I'm thinking since day one. How many years now has it been?
10.
Wow.
That's a lot of moolah. You'd be profitable if you didn't have that subscription.
I know. That's $400 a year. No, it's worth it. I do pay for a lot of subscriptions like Bloomberg, New York Times, Washington Post, because we cover the news.
Yeah.
But The Information, consistently great scoops, really good stuff.
Yep, I pay for it too.
And you should follow Paris on there, Paris Martineau. If you have a tip, her signal, I'm going to give out our super secret signal handle, is Martineau.01. Martineau.01. Here is the Ars Technica article. Thank you, Chocolate Milk Mini Sip, on our Discord. Durov was charged with providing cryptology services without making required declarations to government officials. That's concerning. Under French law, providers of cryptology must make declarations to ANNSI, the country's cybersecurity agency. French authorities may request that companies provide, quote, the technical characteristics and source code of the means of cryptology, which was the subject of the declaration.
Surrender cheese monkeys not being good here.
Not good. Not good.
That's bad. That's an attack on privacy.
Yeah. They want a back door.
Yep.
This is what we were afraid of. It's not about CSAM. It's about getting a back door.
Yep. That's bad.
I will say the quote also says he was also charged with. So essentially, there are other charges too. Yeah. But point still stands.
Paris Martineau, what's your pick of the week?
You know, this week, or maybe it was last right before the show, we were doing our weekly editorial meeting at The Information, and as I get off, I get an email from our CEO and founder, Jessica Lesson, that says, very important question. And I was like, oh my gosh, what could it be? She wanted to know where I go to print my hats, because I guess I'm well known for having a lot of dumb hat ideas that I make into reality. And
so
she
this
wanted
whole
to know,
top hat thing was just a
segue. And so I use printful.com because I like the hats to be a little embroidered. It's really good. You can order a novelty hat one-off, make a little thing, get it embroidered. It's like usually less than $20 for one hat.
Ooh.
I really like it. Their hats are nice. She was also asking about t-shirts. I didn't have super recommendations for that, but I like Printful.
Let me see your hats.
Let's see a hat you
if
made.
you go to the second one, my hats, I started making them whenever I was a younger reporter and had to cover tech hearings, and they would always have so many ridiculous sayings in them that I would get them embroidered in a hat. So I have a Senator Rerun ad.
Wait a minute. I know what the first one is.
is a
The
game.
second one is Mr. Bezos, I believe you're on mute, which was the
I remember
Zoom
that too.
hearing of all the different ones. There's also one that's not pictured here that says, will you commit to ending Finsta? Which is one of my favorite ones. I'm forgetting which one it was, but I think there's a Lindsey Graham quote or something where they asked that, and it made no sense then, but I got it on a hat. And this one was my most recent one. My friend Maya, it was her birthday, and she had posted in her Instagram story like months ago that she found this photo of her grandpa's hat that says "Screw up, call cause off."
Was he
And
an
so
attorney? What
he was an attorney, yeah.
How
And so
funny.
I took a screenshot of it, put in an order for a hat. It was $15, came next week, and then I gave it to her on her birthday, and it was lovely.
I got to tell you,
So,
your hat is nicer than the one Mr. Kosoff was wearing in the picture.
I know.
You got a nice embroidered version of that.
I know.
Oh,
I
you've
made
just,
sure it wasn't red because then that would potentially be problematic.
You've just armed us with some very dangerous tools.
I know. Anybody can make a novelty hat. It's really important to know.
Well, that was 30 Rock. There was the writer, the comedy writer
Yes.
would always have a non sequitur hat. But I like yours. They're not non sequitur, they're sequitur.
Right.
So, I mean, sometimes I'll be in the subway, like wearing my like Senator We Run Ads hat or something, and people will be like,
Mark
I'm like,
Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
at
I'm
the
like, yes,
hearing.
that's the hat.
Senator, we run ads. That's such a good hat. What? Oh, I love this. How many do you have?
That I've made. I think
Yeah.
3.
Because I think I just imagine somebody in Goodwill looking at the clothes and going, "What are all these hats?" Oh, you got to make more. You got to make more.
I know.
for us.
There was a brief time where I had a little online store for some will you commit to ending Finsta hats? And then I had the proceeds go to a charity.
That's
but
brilliant. I would buy that.
it's a good thing. You can make your own.
Do you wear
50
them
bucks or-
around the city of
do.
New York?
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's fun.
You've got personality.
Yeah.
I do.
You've got spunk.
Yeah.
I got
I hate
moxie.
spunk. I hate spunk. That's a little. She doesn't know what that's from, Jeff.
No, you see, I think we really ought to do the sequel to Only Murders in the Building. I think
I do think that'd be good.
I think it's it. I think
Okay.
we're the streaming low cost version.
Yeah. You got
Ladies,
spunk. I hate
Only
spunk.
Murders in the
Hate
podcast.
spunk. She just Googled it. She just
I did,
Googled
yeah.
it, and she has found the quote.
I have the Mary Tyler Moore show.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Ed Asner.
Lou Grant said.
Mr. Grant.
It's actually a great scene.
You got Spunk Kid, and I hate Spunk.
Spunk. It is now time for Jeff Jarvis's.
So I was going to do the new Wise photo bird feeder so we can all be Craig Newmark.
Oh, I've seen these. I love these. In fact, we almost got one. There's a variety. Our neighbors have one. There's a variety of bird feeders. There's one where you wear it and you're
What?
wearing the
What?
feeder and the bird comes up and eats and doesn't know you're a human so you can see up close.
Jesus.
I swear to
You
God,
can
I'm
just
not making this up.
hold bird seed. You don't
Well,
need a
no,
feeder.
the birds are cagey. They're not gonna. So this one's a camera.
You got to buy the camera extra and the solar power extra.
But then you get pictures up close of birds eating your food.
Yeah, which is nice.
Probably overrated.
But I was going to do that, but I found something better.
Okay.
So from Ted Underwood online, a professor online, a wonderful paper called The Unbearable Slowness of Being.
But wait a minute. Before you do that,
Yeah,
can I just show you
sure.
somebody wearing a bird feeder?
Are you?
It's hard to beat that.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
There's two people.
I'm going to walk around New York City in that.
Yeah, the problem is you're going to have a 15-pound pigeon is going to come along and tear it off.
The Unbearable Slowness of Being. Is this a
Being.
book?
It's a wonderful paper by Zhiyu Zhang and Marcus Meister from Caltech. And what it says is, I am charged with coming up with a number of the week, so this is very much numbers. So they figured out that we are so slow as human beings, and we have a limit to our cognition, and that we only do things at 10 bits a second.
Wow.
All right. And we're going to explain that in a second. But that we gather data at an enormous rate of 1 gigabit per second. And so they try to figure this out. So if you go through, for example, the photoreceptor cells in the human eye convert light. So one human cone photoreceptor can transmit information at about 270 bits a second. With 6 million cones, one eye has a capacity of 1.6 gigabits per second.
Per second.
Per second.
Wow.
But we know,
Now-
that's why we know that you reject most of what you see.
Well,
right?
in
You
fact,
don't see
I'm
it.
going to tell you exactly. So then you go down, and the output of the eye consists of 1 million axons. With particularly strong stimuli, one can drive them at an average rate of 50 hertz. So the capacity of the optic nerve is about 100 megabits per second or less. That is 10 times less than the capacity of the photoreceptors. So the circuits inside your retina are already compressing the visual data substantially by a factor of at least 10.
Compressing or ignoring? Because that's a
good question.
An
That's a good
interesting.
question. Don't know.
Are we seeing it all, but it's compressed, or are we not seeing?
Don't know.
We're only seeing 1/10 of what we.
A single neuron transmits at 10 bits a second, which is to say that the information throughput of an entire human being is one neuron. So basically the question here is that we process information, we get information a millionfold faster than we process it. And so there's a speed limit on our behavior. And they're trying to figure this out. They don't, but they're trying to.
Many of us feel that the visual scene we experience, even from a glance, contains vivid details everywhere. The image feels sharp and full of color and fine contrast. However, this is an illusion called subjective inflation in the technical jargon. You feel like it's sharp and colorful, but you don't see it. I know this because I have aphantasia. If I close my eyes, I can't remember any bit of that scene.
Famously
gone.
cannot picture an apple.
Yes.
I cannot, let alone the dew. They ask about this is really interesting.
Is it
But
really
did they,
That is
did
very
they
So they
come
say
to a
that-
conclusion?
Well, they say that Musk says that he thinks, because he's going to put things in your head, that we have a bandwidth problem, and he's saying they're saying that's not the issue at all.
They call it the Musk illusion. For the most part, this is a harmless illusion. However, when paired with the immense fortune of Elon Musk, the belief can lead to real-world consequences. Wow.
So if you go to page, here, what is it?
Again with the line numbers.
Page 14.
This kind of study touches upon the hard problem already of consciousness.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
It's a very hard
touching
problem.
It's an AI story, right?
Yeah.
So if you go to page 14, there's a table at the beginning, which shows. So if you're typing, that's where they begin this. They figured out this typing. That's the way we process that. If you're doing characters that aren't logical, that aren't words, it's 10 bits a second. And then they have other tasks here. Binary digital memorization. It averages out to 4.9 bits a second. Blindfolded speed cubing. Not that I could do that. 11.8.
Is that like Rubik's Cube?
Yeah,
Speed
Rubik's
cubing?
Cube.
Okay.
Right. Listening comprehension in English, about 13. Object recognition is fast, 30 to 50. Reading in English is
This is
28
bits
to
per
45.
second when he
Bits
says
per
that
second.
number, yeah.
StarCraft for an e-athlete, 10 bits a second.
Yeah, those guys, I watch them play and they're processing stuff so much faster than I
But
can.
it's still not that fast.
So I'll tell you at least the trick for that, for StarCraft, and I know this from playing chess, is what we are very good at as humans is pattern recognition. And we can take a pattern that might have 100 bits and somehow store it in our brain as just a few bits. And that's what's happening with these StarCraft players. It's the reason they're good at it and fast at it. They played it so long that they have globbed all of that data down into smaller digestible globs, and they can process it. Whereas I'm seeing the details that are way too much for me to process. So I think that we do something in our brain that lets us process more data than
Well, I think there's also a problem with trying to compare how our brains work with the way computers work.
Yeah, bits per
And
second
this
is
is
not
this and
very
stuff. That's how
meaningful,
computers
really.
work. We work in
Yeah.
parallel. Our neurons
We're
work in
vastly
parallel. with each
parallel,
other. So
that's
it's
right.
very, very different.
Yeah.
It's a very different throughput.
I interviewed Jeff Hawkins, who was the creator of the graffiti alphabet and Palm Pilot. And he's a neuroscientist. He actually wrote a great book about brains. But he's ended up, he said that. He said, we're never going to duplicate human cognition in a von Neumann machine. It's too linear. We need to make massively parallel machines. Our brains are much, much slower than modern computers, but much, much more parallel. And his company, Numenta, is trying to make chips that are massively parallel, but he's been doing this for years. I don't know if he's made much progress. But that's the idea is we don't work like a computer. We're not a linear processing.
What they argue here in section 6.1 is that image processing is massively parallel.
Yeah.
But in contrast, central processing appears to be strictly serial. So they theorize that we have kind of an outer brain that takes all this stuff in. It's our inner brain that does the actual thinking that is very serial. We can only do one thing at a time. We can only concentrate on one thing at a time. And that is very slow. Which is really kind of interesting.
Does that align with your guys' experiences of thought? I feel like the way that I think and process ideas is very fluid and not in a way that I would describe as serial.
But also,
sometimes to my detriment,
Also calling it slow though is kind of a problem because relative to what?
Relative to the amount of data we're taking.
You know what? I'm going to try to get Jeff Hawkins on again. I did a triangulation with him when his book On Intelligence came out, which I do recommend is a really good primer to how brains work. He's got a new one, came out a couple of years ago, a new theory of intelligence. It's called 1,000 Brains. Let me see if I can get an interview with him.
And send him this paper beforehand just to react to it.
Oh, I'm sure he's read it. I mean, he's a trained neuroscientist.
Yeah, exactly. And
one
more stat.
Yeah.
Section 5.1. How much information is stored? How big is our database? So they say that the upper bound of the brain's capacity by counting the number of synapses, which is 10 to the 14th, and multiplying by the dynamic range of the synaptic strength estimated at 5 bits, resulting in 5 times 10 to the 14th or 50 terabytes, which they think is an overestimate.
Much, much less than a modern computer.
Yeah.
Fascinating. So what makes our consciousness different, and how can we do AI with machines that are very different from how our brains work?
The paper's written in a very fun way. I mean, I skip over certain parts because I'm dumb. But Jiayu Zhang and Marcus Meister from Caltech, credit to them.
Very nice. I shall save that and read it at my leisure.
It's got some jokes in it for...
The Unbearable Slowness of Being is the title of that. By itself is a joke, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Look for that and you can find it. Very cool. Jeff Jarvis, you have brought an unusual amount of intellectual acuity to the show this day. I barely expected it from a man.
Must be because now that you're officially emeritus.
I'm emeritus.
You've got all this time.
That's it. He's got wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
My 50 terabytes.
Doing a lot of there.
It's all up here.
Imagine, Leo, you and me, what's not in there anymore that used to be.
Oh, my God. I've forgotten more than you ever knew. Or something. Jeff is the emeritus director of the Town Night. Well, no, you're not emeritus director of the Town Night. You're just not that anymore.
I just think that's right. Yeah, I think that's the case.
You're the emeritus professor, the
Tao professor.
The Tao professor of journalistic
at the
innovation.
Craig Newmark Journalism Graduate School.
Newmark. Formerly director of the Town Night Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism.
Right.
At CUNY. Soon to be seen somewhere else. But you know what? I like the writing. Keep doing the writing. I love your books.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm on chapter 4 of my Linotype book right now.
And I love your chairs. Now, I've never really paid attention to chairs, but that looks like you stole them from the library at a college.
No, you know what? You know where those came from? So we spoke about them earlier. Those came from the waiting room at my father-in-law's dental office.
Oh, that's even better.
So the sweat on those
are from people who
arms.
lost.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Those are your root canal chairs.
I have unfortunately discovered lots of gum underneath.
Really?
Because you got to get rid of them before you go to the dentist.
That's very funny.
Isn't it?
Who chews gum on the way to the dentist? Well,
That's
you forgot. You got to put it down there.
Yeah, maybe that makes sense.
Where else? Where can I put this? Oh, well, sure.
It's so fun doing this show with you guys. Jeff Jarvis, thank you. Paris Martineau, thank you. And thank you all for watching.
Well, that was
Special
the
thanks. Coquettish.
Yes, that was like
Let's
a
all
sitcom.
tilt our head
that was a
to the
sitcom.
right.
It was kind of a that girl thing. Mary Tyler Moore.
No, let's do it to the left. Everybody to the left.
Well,
And we'll do this for the thumbnail.
Wait a second. Which
See,
left?
it's
Stage
reversed.
left?
We can't figure it out then. Okay.
Be coquettish. See, this is how you win on YouTube. I just want to share that with everybody.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Coquette.
Coquette. We do This Week in Google every Wednesday afternoon, about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. You can watch us live now on 7 different channels: YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, X.com. Of course, our club members get to watch in Discord. We're on Kick right now. I think we're moving to Telegram. Maybe not. I don't know. Now we don't know what to do.
You don't want to be near to see Sam, no.
But anywhere you see streaming stuff, you might be able to find This Week in Google. But, I think very few people watch live. It's really easier to watch or listen after the fact. We do audio and video versions of the show, make them available at our website, twit.tv/twig. Thanks to Benito Gonzalez, not only our producer and technical director, but our editor as well. He wears many hats. On the website, twit.tv/twig, you'll also see links, to a YouTube channel dedicated to the video. And you will be able to find links to 2 or 3 of the best known podcast apps. But truthfully, any podcast client should know about This Week in Google. And if you subscribe, you'll just get it automatically. You don't have to think about it. And really, the best way to handle This Week in Google is not thinking about it. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Just let it soak over you.
Yeah, just don't. It's
Let
like
it
the
happen.
cruise channel.
Let it
you
happen.
don't really want to. Just leave it. We're 10 bits a second. You can't handle the truth.
Well,
You can't
gotta
handle
get
the
on
twig.
this.
Bye-bye.